Alrighty, hello everybody, hello, welcome in, you guys, welcome in. Let's see if I can get this hedgehog to be my friend today. I think it's the third time I fed him his favorite food, so we should be good here. Yep, we're good, we got him. We got him. Yeah, there he is, he's so cute. I love his little mushroom, this little guy's adorable. Let's go and equip him. Alright, hello everybody. Scuttles and I got one today. Yeah, just feed them their favorite food 3 times. The third time you feed them their favorite food, should be guaranteed to get them. All right. Well, hello, everybody, hello. As you know, we are kicking off our weekly Dreamsnap Reviews today. That's on the agenda. Now, I've mentioned on here and also on YouTube and also in Discord and on Facebook that we will not be doing a Dreamsnap tip video. We've done them 26 weeks in a row now. But we will not have one, unfortunately, we won't have one this week or next week. This week because I'm going to be going to GoFest this week and I have company coming into town. And we've been so busy with the sponsored stream. Yo, Fallen Angel, thank you. Oh, you know what? I have to shout out the other bit senders before I get into everything here. Let me give a big shout out to Bell B. Thank you for the first bits of the day, my friend. Very kind of you, very kind. Shout out to Dreamer with the 100 bits here. Thank you, Dreamer. And shout out to Fallen Angel with the big 200 as well. Thank you. All right. So yeah, I have company coming into town. I wasn't able to do the Dreamsnap tip video Thursday because we had the sponsored stream yesterday. And then we also had, the DLC, the Adventure Kit release, Adventure Pack released Wednesday. So we did a pretty long stream on Wednesday. I had to set some special things up for the sponsor stream on Thursday, and also just wanted to make sure I was going through, what I needed to do for it. Wanted to make sure I was good there. And, yeah, I have company coming into town later today. I thought Tommy was going to get here at, 6 a.m., but it's actually 6 p.m., so he'll be here around 6 p.m., and, wait, what did I just pick up? The shopping list. Oh, maybe they added it back in for people that lost it. Yeah, they might have just thrown an extra shopping list in because I know some people had a bug where the shopping list disappeared for them. That's probably why there's an extra one on the ground here. They're probably trying to help people out that ended up having it disappear. So if you're one of those people that lost your shopping list, I just found an extra right here. So yeah, I'm guessing they just added a second one in just to fix that problem. Cambria, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Thank you, my friend. Much appreciated. Let me grab some more seeds. I've been getting a lot of these new crops stacked up here. I'm going to get some more of the... Well, I think the Puffle Bud is probably worth the most money. Let's grab the Puffle Buds. All right. Okay. Throw it in a chest. Yeah, that's what you can do with it now. Just throw it in a chest. It's not going to really serve any purpose. They just added it in for the people that had it disappear. That's my guess. They put it in the game because sadly a lot of people had an issue. Well, not a lot, but a handful of people had a pretty major issue where their shopping list would just disappear and it left them unable to progress in the expansion at all because you got to set up the stall as one of the quest line things, and yeah, they were just met with a pretty unfortunate circumstance there. I'm going to pick all these things here. But anyway, yeah, I have a friend coming to town this weekend, so I won't be able to make the Dreamsnap tip video over the weekend, and we're doing GoFest. And then next week, there won't be a Dreamsnap tip video because I'm only going to be in town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but I'm flying out Wednesday. We're going to visit with Jordan's family, so I will not be here. Jordan's actually flying out Saturday, but I am going to stay until Wednesday. That way I can still do y'all's Dreamsnap reviews. So when we were planning the flights, I was like, we were trying to figure out if I would fly out with Jordan. And I was like, well, the only thing is, I do the weekly Dreamsnap reviews, and it would be kind of hard for me to take a full week away. So what I'm going to do is Wednesday to Saturday, and she's going to do Saturday to Saturday. So she's going to be gone for a full week. I'm going to be gone for half a week. But that way we'll still be able to review. Oh, that's really pretty. We'll still be able to review all your Dream Snaps with today, Monday, and Tuesday. So I got you guys covered, So yeah, even though there won't be a Dreamsnap tip video, you can always tune into the Snap Reviews to kind of hear my thoughts on the challenge, and, you know, we can always address things that way. Okay, I think I got... Oh, you know, let's go ahead and pick these and plant some more. Yeah, we'll get started here in just a minute. I'm so excited for GoFest this weekend, though. So excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Did you see the Pokemon thing in New York with the screens? Was that real? Yeah, that was real. That was real. They did it as like a special release for GoFest. So if you were, I think it was last night in New York, they took up all of Town Square and they put Mewtwo on like all the like TV billboards, and they did like a massive like Mega Mewtwo raid, and anybody that was there, I think, got a guaranteed like perfect Mewtwo, like a guaranteed hundo, which is pretty cool. But some players were like mad about it because they, I guess, because they, you know, weren't able to do it, and there were players that were like, I've been playing this game since 2016, and I don't think it's fair that they gave a guaranteed perfect Mewtwo to these people. And it's like, bro, you're taking things too seriously. Just, you know, like, just enjoy the game, brother. You know, you don't need a perfect one. Just get one. It's all good. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right. Oh, yeah, let me talk to Wally real quick. Okay. Cushy said I finally finished Pooh and Friends. Nice, nice. I haven't had the time to do... I finished Pooh's level 10 quest, and I was working on Piglets a little bit yesterday. Once we review... Reinforce the river playing... Once we review... everybody's... or, you know, once we review snaps for about an hour or two... Oh, the rain. The rain, my game had to think about that for a minute. My game had to think about the rain for a minute there. Yeah, once we review everybody's snaps for about an hour or two, we'll probably come back to Honeyglow Woods, and I'll try to knock out some more friendship quests before the weekend comes up here. Oh, let me get my little hedgehog to... Oh, wait, can I get another hedgehog? Hang on, hang on. Because if I can equip both of them and get them both to the yellow one... Yeah, I can get the... I think I can get the yellow one today, too. And then I'll equip both of them and get them to level 5 real quick, and then we'll kick off the reviews. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Author said I'm tearing out my valley to completely redo it. Oh, dang. So, I've done that a bunch of times, but I probably won't ever do it again because now I finally have my Mulan Valley, and I'm, like, really happy with it. Anita, yes, yes, we do have the Twitch drops. Yes, yes to Twitch drops. You can get them here. You can get them here. Twitch drops are available. We are one of the streams partnered with Gameloft here. Jesse James is lurky lurk. For you keeping amazing. Hope you're having an awesome day. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Same to you. There we go. Now we got both of our hedgehogs. Wait, did the other one unequip? Yeah, I think the other one unequipped. All right, well, let's put on both hedgehogs and get them to level 5 real quick here. There they go. Okay. All right. We're going to go take care of these little guys. We got to go to... Oh, that was Realms. Got to go to Storybook Vale. Got to go to Wildwoods. I think the hedgehogs pick up forageables. I think they do forageables. I mean, I can check for you. Yeah, forageables. There we go. Dreamer said congratulations for what? For what? What are you congratulating me for? Oh my god, he gave me 5 truffles? Let's go. Dang, that's awesome. 5 truffles. All right. Jenny said, can we see the photo post of the hedgehog, please? Yeah, let me get him to max level, and I'll show it to you real quick. We showed it yesterday because you can get a hedgehog right away. There's one in the premium shop. A little bee hedgehog, and he flies instead of rolls. He's really cute. But yeah, we showed his pose yesterday as well. I'll show you here if you weren't here for that. Zombie, hello, hello. Welcome back, welcome back. Sure said my Pooh quest is bugged. Got the key and use it on the chest, but it's saying use the key and I don't have it. Oh no. So you put the you put the key in the chest and then it got stuck? Night also, when do you travel? Wednesday. Wednesday I'll be flying out. I'll have to double check the time. I think it's in the morning though. I think I'm flying out in the morning. So I probably won't be able to stream Wednesday. There we go. All right, we got these little guys at level 5. Very nice. Are there any companions or hangouts that replicate rich soil? Rich soil? I have a good bit of extra rich soil. So, oh, wait. I thought that was Samantha. I thought that was my mod, Samantha, saying that. I was going to say, you're on my dream team. You could request it, but you're not my mod, Samantha. You're the other Samantha, so you're not on my dream team. And I think for soil... they used to have... They kind of changed it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because there was, like, some... There were pets that did, like, clay and soil and stuff. I don't know if digging companions, since the birds give you digging resources. I know rich soil is like a gardening resource, but since it's a soil, I wonder if the ravens will duplicate it. I can't really remember. Yeah, Fallen Angel, that's what I would think is a digging companion. Even though you don't dig up the rich soil, since it counts as a soil, I would think that the ravens or other digging companions would probably do it. Probably. All right. Samarantha, I think everybody knows that. I think everybody knows that already. So, you were like, it's earned from gardening, not digging, friends. Yes, but it's not a, and like I said, you can try it. But what I was trying to explain to you when you asked was that they actually used to have different icons on some of the pets. So there was actually a little soil icon, and the pets would duplicate, like clay and different types of soil. So even the gardening soil, even the soil we get from gardening would be duplicated. But then to make everything easier to understand, Gameloft changed the coding and they made the symbols different. So they just pretty much put everything under digging. So there's a little shovel here. Now, everybody here plays Dreamlight Valley enough to be in a Twitch stream and to be, active in the community. So I'm sure they've all gotten rich soil at some point in their play session. So I don't think you have to explain to anybody that it comes from gardening. What we're trying to explain to you, because you asked, was if a gardening pet is not giving you extra rich soil, try a digging pet. Even though the soil's not from digging, since it is a soil resource, there is a chance they'll duplicate it. That's what we're trying to tell you. So you can try both. You can try both. You can try a gardening pet, or you can try a digging pet. And it's funny because, I've had, basically some of the more obscure resources that you get in different ways like that. I have had pets duplicate them that that where a resource doesn't necessarily come from that certain activity, I'll still have duplicates from it. Senor said I had a good bug with Pooh Sticks for the ones you do every day. I was just playing it to win 15 count and count them as new all day. Oh, no way. What? Wait, so you are already able to get your, play Pooh Sticks like 15 days. Actually, I need to play Pooh Sticks right now because this will be my 3rd day in a row, and that'll get me my first little treasure. I wonder if I have that bug. I don't think so, because I played a lot the other day. Yeah, I'm going to throw one of these new items in. We already got a lot of these. We'll see what that does. We'll see what that does here. Amy says hello, Sabai. Hello, Amy. Welcome, welcome. All right, my little guy is... Oh, that lemon is booking it. Okay, well, I was in first for a little bit. Hello, Sabai. Did you finish the DLC? What are your impressions? I did. On Wednesday, we finished the main story, but there's still a lot for me to do. Like, I still need to decorate, still need to do some of the friendship quests, still need to unlock some of the hedgehogs. So there's still a lot for me to do, so I wouldn't say I'm finished with it by any stretch of the imagination. But my impression of it is that I truly believe this may be the best value we've ever had from anything Gameloft has sold us. So, you know, they've... If you think about it, a $20 Moonstone bundle, right? If you spend $20 US on a Moonstone bundle. Oh my god, that was so close. If you spend $20 on Moonstone bundle, you get around 5,500 Moonstones, right? So that would buy you usually like a premium house and maybe like an outfit, you know, like a 1750 outfit or something. That would come up to close to 5,000 Moonstones. You know, or it could be a premium house and a couple of pieces of decor. And that would cost you $20. This DLC is cheaper than that. So, for less than 5,500 Moonstones, you get 4 new biomes, 3 new characters, loads of new craftables, a new potion, new gameplay mechanics. Like, you get so many different things. So, my impression of the DLC is that I truly think it's the absolute best value of anything they've ever sold us. And I know it's an adventure pack, so it's smaller than our usual DLCs. You know, like in the usual DLCs, every biome has its own gemstones. It has its own fish. You know, there's its own flowers. So there's less of that this time around, right? Like basically the same fish are in every biome, the same flowers for the most part, the same forageables. So, you know, there's not as much in this DLC, but I'm very, very, very happy with it. You know, for the price, it's insanely well valued. So that would be my impression. I'm buying it for the Pooh in the raincoat, says Mellet. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if you get it early, you get that nice little Winnie the Pooh. I think you have to get it in the first 2 weeks to get that. It's more enjoyable and less overwhelming for me because those things too, plus great value. Yeah, I kind of like that it's like pretty simple, you know. I mean, I do like the other DLCs having a wider variety of things. You know, the other DLCs having like a bunch of different flowers and a bunch of different gemstones and like usually a longer story and stuff like that. But for what it is, you know, this has just been an absolutely great DLC. I think we got this. Yeah. Good job, Pepper. Only one whirlpool. Mirabelle and Flynn got screwed there. The whirlpool just popped up right in front of them. All right. Well, now I think I can claim... I should be able to claim... Yeah, here it is. There's a little... Play Pooh Sticks Daily, number 3. Ooh, that's cool. Check that out, you guys. So once you've played Pooh Sticks... on 3 separate days, you'll get this item. And there's another item you'll get for playing Pooh Sticks, I think. Let's see, where is it? Let me go and get this. Where's the next tier? Oh, if I win 6 more games of Pooh Sticks, I'll get this. I kind of want to get this now. Okay, so play Pooh Sticks daily 7 times. So once I play 7 times, I'll get another reward. Very cool, very cool. Well, let's see if I can win 6 games real quick. Is there a 100% way to win for Pooh Sticks? No. No, there's not. Because Unfortunately, it's very randomized. It's very luck-based. The reason that that's the case is because you can't see the river. So when you pick an item, you can pick something that's really fast, but it gets slowed down by whirlpools, or you can pick something a bit slower that can move through a whirlpool. Whether that hurts you or helps you depends on what the river looks like, and there's no way to know what the river's going to look like. So really, it's just random chance. You just pick an item and see what happens. It's not like Scramble Coin where there's like a lot of different strategy and stuff. See, this time I have 2 whirlpools in front of me, so my pepper... Oh, I'm in the middle. I might be okay. No, I'm going to hit that whirlpool there. I'm probably going to get hurt by it. Yep. Seymour said I use peppers mostly. Yeah, peppers are good. Peppers are good. I mean, some items are better than others when, you know, just like in terms of being middle of the pack. Like, the peppers aren't heavily slowed down by the whirlpools, and they have a pretty decent speed, so, you know, they're all right. Onions I've had a lot of success with, but yeah, it just depends on what the map's going to look like. So this one, I'll probably be okay here because... yeah, the dark wood and the stick is going to get stuck there. And we're good. Nice. So what's new about the third-person camera mode, you guys? I'm curious about that. What's new with that? Because people were talking about that yesterday. Because in the free update, we got the ability to do this, to like go really far away with it. This has been in the game since we got the Hercules update. And it's always been able to zoom in. So, you know, it's always been able to do this. This isn't new. Unless I'm missing something else. Like, is there something else I'm missing here? Yeah, this is the same it's always been for me. For a lot of players, it didn't zoom in good. Oh, mine's always been exactly like this. Yeah, mine's always been exactly like this here. It does seem to be like a tiny bit higher. Like, it's not angled down quite as much as it was, but it's a pretty subtle change. I still think it's better if you want to catch the horizon to push the camera, though. And this mode doesn't zoom in at all, but you can see a lot higher into the scene with the portrait mode. In free mode, you'll notice the camera gets angled down a little bit. So we can't see quite as high. Chelsea says, hey there, first-time viewer. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. Good to have you. Good to have you. Amy says, hello, senpai. Welcome, Amy. Welcome. Good to see you. Do you not remember me? I wouldn't say that, Amy. You just gotta, you know... So, you might not know this if you haven't been here in a while, but I'm typically live on both Twitch and YouTube, and we got about 200 people watching on Twitch right now, so there's a lot of comments, and there's 2 separate chats. So I'm not really going to be able to catch the, you know, comments right away when they come in. So, you know, if you make a comment and it doesn't get seen, just give it a minute. And I'll likely see it eventually. You can also just, like, wait and then put your comment back in. I was going to, Marisa, I was going... Oh, I think you were talking to somebody else. You didn't add them. I think you're talking to Heather. Chelsea said your community sang your praises, so I come over. Oh, nice, nice. Look at you guys lying about me being a good person. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. We do a lot with Dreamsnaps, Chelsea, so if you're a big fan of Dreamsnaps and all things snap related, you're definitely in the right place. But yeah, I guess for some people, the free mode wasn't zooming in good before. But for me, it's working pretty much as it did before. I can see a little bit higher in the horizon than we used to be able to. Not quite the same as portrait mode, though. And I think somebody said it zooms in better than portrait mode. Portrait mode never zoomed in. Portrait mode's never zoomed in. And there's never been a zoom setting on portrait mode, the second camera mode. So that's why we always use an item to push the camera. So it's not really a zoom on portrait mode. What I would love to see from free mode, what would make me really happy with the free camera mode, would to see this eventually get changed to where the camera can go even flatter, just like portrait mode, so I can see higher. Because if we do zoom in on the avatar, you'll notice that, we don't really see over these trees. And if you have a background of big things close to you, it can be advantageous to see over them. Whereas with this one, we can see very, very high into the horizon. I would love for free mode to one day be able to have this angle here, but also zoom in. Yo, somebody, did you get my Savannah Scatterbug yet already? Yeah, I've got all the Scatterbugs except for... There's only 2 that I need. One is Sandstorm. So I need somebody to send me Pokemon Go gifts all the way from Dubai in the Middle East. I don't have any of those yet. And that's one of the only Scatterbugs I'm missing. And then I think there's one other one, which is Greenland. There's a Scatterbug from Greenland. I've got 2 of them so far. But I don't have the... Wait, are you not max level? Did I not get... Oh, I didn't get you to max level. I did your buddy, but not you. Whoops. Is there a way to zoom in them all on the ground with your critter? Yeah. I use that all the time. There's a nice little trick with that. A nice little trick. I use this for... Actually, you're going to see this a lot this week. You're going to see it a lot this week when we review snaps. So... Let me show you how it works. You can pick a companion where you sit on the ground. So if we go with a little ancient robot here, you'll notice if I go into camera mode, and I have the camera pushed up here, if I were to sit down with the robot, you're not going to see me. But what you can do is you go into selfie mode, you crouch, and then right when you uncrouch, you toggle back to portrait mode. So uncrouch, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Uncrouch and toggle, and now the camera's on the ground, and now I can sit on the ground with the camera. It's all about timing, though. You gotta be able to time it. So, left trigger plus Y for me is how I stand up crouch and stand up in selfie mode. And once I stand back up, I just have to immediately switch to portrait mode. So stand up and switch. That was a little too slow. I was trying to slow it down so it was easier to see, but gotta be a little faster than that. But yeah, a lot of people use that. It works on all platforms, Lady Coco. It works on every platform. Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox, PC. The only thing is that, you have to get the timing. It has to be fast. It has to be very fast. So when you use that little trick, as soon as you stand back up, as soon as you use the button option to stand, you have to immediately, and I mean immediately, switch to portrait mode. Like that fast. And then the camera will stay on the ground here. Chelsea, if you type exclamation YouTube, you will get a link to my YouTube channel. Exclamation YouTube. We got a chat bot here that does all that stuff for us. It's a good, hard-working RoboPie. He does everything. Casey says, how do you unlock the other biomes in the adventure pack? Just do the main story. Do the main story. That's pretty much how it goes with most DLCs. I know in like Rift in Time you had to buy your way into new areas with Mist. And in Storybook Vale you would kind of buy your way into areas with Storybook Magic. But you know, with I believe it was with Wish Blossom Ranch, the way you would access new DLCs was by progressing in the main story, unlocking the horses, and gaining friendship with your horses. With this one, it's just the main quest. You do the main quest, and you'll start unlocking new areas. I would focus on the main quest first. I would make that like your primary focus as you play through, because it's going to get you access to all the areas. It's going to get you some really cool stuff. And you'll have more landscaping stuff, because as you unlock biomes, the landscaping decor from those biomes will be unlocked in your furniture menu. All right. Sunshine said you can also sit on furniture or a beanbag, which would allow you to scroll on your phone. Are you talking about getting a shot of you sitting? The person that was asking, you might not have been here when they asked, Sunshine. They said, is there, they asked a very specific question. They said, is there a way to get the camera low when, oh, here it is. This was their question. Is there a way to zoom in while on the ground with a critter? That's why we didn't really cover like beanbags or couches and stuff. They were specifically asking if there was a way to sit down with a critter or zoom in while doing that. And by the way, Marblowy, you don't have to use the camera push trick if you don't want to. Like, you can also just go into free mode like this, and you could always just do a little headshot or a little seated pose, and you could zoom in this way as well. So this works too. You know, this works as well. Only thing with this is, again, in free mode, the camera won't, you know, it's not going to look up as high as it would in portrait mode. That's the only difference, is that in free mode, the camera is always kind of pointed down at this like slight downward angle, whereas in portrait mode, the camera is always at a straight forward angle. It's always at an angle going, you know, directly forward here. So you'll see the difference here. We'll do both. So this is with the trick that we discussed, where you push the camera forward and you sit on the ground. As you can see here, you can see a lot more of the tree. You can see the hanging lanterns. You can see these honey pots. You can see this full root arch here. Now, when we do it in free mode... Oh, you know what? I'll take a picture and I'll put them side by side so you can really see it. We'll compare the two. Both can be really good for Dreamsnaps, by the way, so you don't necessarily need to do one or the other. You don't really need to do one or the other. I usually use portrait mode. I just like the way the shots are framed for portrait mode. I did save that, right? Just in case, I'm gonna make sure. I'm gonna do one more shot. I think I saved it. I'm pretty sure I did, but we'll be on the safe side here. Okay. Now let's do a separate photo where we use free mode instead. And there's no way to get that camera lower or at a straight angle here. So, you know, we're not going to see as high up into the scene. It doesn't always matter, you know, it depends on what's behind you and how you're framing your shot. That's what it's going to come down to on which one you want to use. Now, let's pull up my photos and we'll look at both. Look at both of these options here. Okay, so here's our free mode option. And here is our portrait mode option. Hey, Senora, thank you, my friend. See Nora coming in with the $10 dono.
Just want to thank you for keeping me sane the last few months. Your streams have saved me from going more insane than I already am.
Well, thank you, see Nora. Thank you. Wouldn't be the same without your shenanigans, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm happy you find some joy here. We like to have fun, you know. We like to have some fun. There we go. Okay, so this is the difference. This is the difference between the two, as you can see. So in your free mode shot, camera's going to be a bit lower. It's going to kind of focus more on the ground. And in your portrait mode shot, the camera is going to be more of a straight shot where you can see higher into the horizon, which can be great if you're in a spot like this and you want to see the beehives and the big root and the lanterns. So, you know, again, which one you choose to use, it really just comes down to what your shot looks like. This can be good. This can be good. This can definitely get 4K. This kind of framing here. But I would say for this particular spot where we are, I think this is a little bit better because we can see this beautiful tree. We see these like glowing lights up here. We see these little beehives. We see these lanterns. It really adds some great beauty to the scene. So, you know, it just depends on where you are. Depends on where you are. Depends on what kind of shot you're trying to capture. But both of them are very viable. Both of them are very viable. You can use either or. And thank you so much, Senor. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. And thank you for being here, my friend. You've been a member of this family for quite some time. 1903 on the board, already almost halfway on the goal, and we haven't even reviewed a single snap yet. Much appreciated, you guys. Much appreciated. Today's goal number 209. Is that right? Dang, we've hit 208 consecutive goals on the channel. Very nice. Yeah, I've played around with the villager toggle, Duffy Bird. I haven't had any issues with it. I know when the new toggle came out, we all noticed that there was a pretty annoying bug with, in particular, Mythopia. So, right, you know, of course, on the update where, you know, let's put, like, Eeyore right here, right? And, yeah, we'll just set Eeyore right next to us. And then we can just hide our little robot. And then we could comfort Eeyore. This could be pretty cute, pretty fun. Sunshine's Head Senpai, can you teach us the trick to keep the Flynn boat? Do you just not place it? So if you want to keep the Flynn boat, yeah, you can never place it when Flynn's around. That's how that works. That's why I'll never finish that quest, because I want to keep this boat. I like having it for Dream Snaps. So if we go to furniture mode, you're going to see if I have a pending quest with Flynn, and it's the dinghy boat. So the thing is, if I place this boat, even on a floating island, if Flynn is there, he will go interact with the boat, and he'll trigger the ending of the quest. So I actually like using this boat for Dream Snaps, and as long as Flynn is not, you know, so it's not just Storybook Vale. You can't place it in the valley if Flynn's around. You can't place it in Storybook Vale. I wouldn't even place it on a floating island if he's present. As long as Flynn is not present, you can place it, and it will not trigger the end of the quest, and you'll be able to keep the boat. So it's just all about making sure Flynn doesn't, you know, get a say there. And it's actually Flynn's boat is the reason I have lanterns over my water, you know? So usually you can't put lanterns here, like in this Dreamsnap. But I have Flynn's dinghy boat out in the water here, so we get some floating lanterns over the ocean. That's why I like having it. That's why I like keeping it. Of course, that means I'll never get to see the Flynn and Rapunzel reunion, but, like, I mean, you can just, like, look it up if you want to watch it, you know? It's not like you get anything extra for doing it. I wish they would just let us keep the boat, honestly. It's kind of sad that the developers add really cute stuff like that, like really cool items to the game, and then they just take them away. Like, you finish the quest and it's just gone. So, Flynn is walking around right now, so if I placed his boat here, he would probably trigger the cutscene. But I do love this boat, as it's the only way I can actually have lanterns over the water. And I only use it for dream snaps, because if I decorate with it, if I put it somewhere and decorate with it, he's probably going to find it. He's probably going to interact with it, and then it's going to be gone for good. I'm waiting for them to maybe give us a copy of the boat, and then I'll finish the quest. So hopefully they'll just eventually add the boat to the game as an item, because I love good water decor, and Flynn's boat is just a really fun item. And once I learned that completing the quest causes you to lose the boat, I just decided to never do the quest, because I like dream snaps, and I like anything that could be cool or useful for dream snaps. So if I can prevent losing that item, I would prefer to prevent that, Oh, let's see what we got from the... Oh my god, no way! Sunshine, thank you, my friend! Sunshine with big 1,000 bits here, thank you.
Thank you for the tips and tricks.
Of course, my friend, of course. I got you. Always, always. Okay, we just got a round table from that hedgehog. Let's see what we get from this one. Hopefully something... Okay, a leather couch. Oh, well. Chelsea said, I'm loving the way this is looking. Oh, we're talking about our little area here. Yeah, I can't wait to decorate around here. Right now, I just kind of have like a little workshop set up. It's pretty cute. I have this like little crafting state. I do love this crafting bench in particular for Honeyglow Woods. Like this little toy bench kind of workshop. Because the childhood vibes of this area. And then, we have our little fruit selection. We have our little apiary over here. We have the little beekeeper's house. I haven't done anything with like this area because if I put big trees here, it's just going to cast a shadow in this area. But I'm probably going to put like benches, and I'll probably eventually get some more path. I'm actually thinking for the path here, I'm thinking I'm going to use garden stones because they look really good in this area. So these little garden stones, I think, kind of fit the vibe here really well. So I'm probably, whenever I do actually decorate this environment, I'm probably going to use these. Hey, Anonymous, thank
Happy
you,
Friday,
my friend.
All hail
let's
the
go.
blobfish.
Much appreciated. We're less than 100 bits away from goal now. Thank you. That would be 4903, and the goal is done. Let's go. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much. Wow, 209 consecutive goals on the channel. Greatly appreciated. 5103. Let me do a quick update there. Thank you. And we still haven't even started the Dreamsnap reviews. You guys are just on a roll here. Thank you so much. Okay, goal number 209. Wow, another new record. Every day is a new record right now. Sinner said, when's the banana stream? We got to do it at some point. And you guys have been asking for it for a little while. There's just been so much going on. Honestly, a banana stream with Mecha Chameleon would be super fun. I feel like a banana stream with Mecha Chameleon would be hilarious. I would just paint myself as a banana the whole, or the banana would just paint himself as a banana the whole time. Here we go. Let me grab some more seeds here. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do that next week because, as you guys know, next week I'm only going to be here Monday and Tuesday, and we have the Snap Reviews. So, I would guess that the... Yeah, it probably had to be the week after I got back. That'd probably be when we could get into... It won't let me plan them. Oh, I'm using the... Okay, don't worry about me. Brain's a little slow today. I was using the wrong gardener. Okay, that's better. All right. Well, we got a lot to do Dreamsnap review-wise. Let me empty my pockets a little bit, and we'll get into the theme. We're going to talk about some key words of the theme, and we're going to start looking at your Dream Snaps and see what you guys have come up with so far, and hopefully provide some good pointers and tips and ideas here. I've already looked through a lot of the snaps because I shared some in our Facebook group, and I shared some on my Facebook page, and I shared on Discord or on YouTube as well. when I made a post there. I should have dropped those snippets off while I was in the bind. Let's put them inside. Yeah, I mean, I'll empty my pockets and then we'll get into it. Imagine the banana doing reviews. People would probably unsubscribe. Because the whole joke with the banana is that he's intentionally mean, you know? It's like, you know, reverse senpai. So, I feel like nobody would be happy about the banana doing the reviews. People would probably think it was serious. We'll read this. There we go. Alright, and for the rest of my stuff... You know what? We'll do that another day. I don't feel like organizing all that right now. I am going to throw this note in here. And I'll just eat these mushrooms. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I gotta put that glimmer away. Not sure why I still have glimmer. I think it's from resetting a floating island where I was working on something. There we go. Alright. Pockets are manageable. Pockets are manageable. Sea Sunshine said, just curious if you're comfortable answering, what's your highest rank you've gotten on Dreamsnaps? Rank 2. I've had 2 rank 2s. I've had rank 12. I've had rank 15 twice. I've had rank 19. And then a bunch in the top 100, but it's all kind of around there. But I don't get too hung up on, you know, highest rank, really, because, you know, both times I've been in the top 3, I don't think that means my Dreamsnap is better than everyone else's. When it comes to where you land in 4K, you actually have very little control over that. That's why the advice I give about Dreamsnaps, it's all about how to consistently land in 4K, but it's not really about how to get in the top 5 or how to get in the top 100. Because here's the thing. You can make an amazing Dreamsnap. You can make it very competitive. You know, you can make something that's practically guaranteed for 4K. But what you can't really do is control where you land in 4K. It's very unpredictable. And the reason why is because you have zero control over what kind of voters you receive, and you have zero control over what kind of Dreamsnap you pop up against. So, I can give you a little example here. We have this old Star Wars snap from a challenge called Coziness Beyond the Stars. Let me see if I can find it. Well, I know I have it in Discord somewhere. But I like to bring this up as an example when it comes to, you know, discussing being in the top 3 and why I don't let it go to my head. You know, I'll mention it, you know, I'll be like, I've been in the top 3 a couple times. But honestly, I feel like on those weeks, you know, the stars aligned and I just got really fortunate, you know. I made a good snap, but I was fortunate that the voters I received resonated with what I created, and also I popped up against a lot of snaps I was able to win the vote against. That's not always going to happen. And that's why you see a lot of fluctuation in the top ranks. You see a lot of fluctuation. So let me find this snap real quick, just to show you what I mean here. So in the Coziness Beyond the Stars challenge, I'm going to save this as Star Wars Rank 2 so I can find it. Okay. In the Coziness Beyond the Stars challenge, this photo was Rank 2. And this is not the first time like something like this has happened. If you play during the Rainbows challenge, I think Rank 1 ended up being a picture on a mostly empty beach with like a few balloons, and that's it. So a lot of people saw this, and a lot of people made like really immaculate, really crazy, beautiful Coziness Beyond the Stars submissions. And everyone was like, how in the world did this one get ranked 2? And people were just confused. But the thing is, you know, it's not too confusing, right? If you understand how Dreamsnaps works at its core. So, this photo, they did the theme. You know, they played with the Star Wars items. Now, they don't really have much going on with, like, ceiling light, and they don't really have, you know, much in the environment here. And it's not the coziest snap, since they're in, like, a battle stance. But the reason this snap ended up in rank 2 is because they did the theme, and they consistently popped up against stuff they can beat. They might have been popping up against random selfies, they might have been popping up against random quest photos, and they ended up in rank 2. So, just because a snap ranks 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, it never means that snap is, like, better than everybody else's. It only means it won more votes. So, I don't put too much stock in the number beside my rank. You know, when I show certain snaps, I'll be like, you know, this was top 100, or, you know, if I were to show you the rank 2s, one of them was Topsy-Turvy Tea Party, which I think it was a very strong snap. You know, really cute tea party here with the little tea kettles, and it was when we got Alice in Wonderland, so we got a great shot of Alice, and we have a cute outfit, and a great shot of Cheshire. But that doesn't mean this snap was better than almost everyone else's. All it means is that I was lucky enough to pop up against things I could beat consistently. There are other snaps out there. When I was doing reviews, there were snaps out there that I personally would have voted for over my own. But I didn't pop up against them, I think. You know, I never got matched up against those snaps. I was matched up against snaps I could beat. And again, that can happen any week. It can happen any week. And that's why the advice I give, you know, it's not about landing in the top 5 or landing in the top 100 or landing in the top 20. Because no matter how much you plan and how competitive you make your snap and how good you do, you still might get ranked 3,000 or 4,000. Because maybe you popped up against some really good snaps. And when 2 snaps are really good, like, I mean, you guys have probably seen this when voting. I think we've all, at some point during voting, come across 2 absolutely amazing snaps. And you had to pick one. You couldn't pick both. And sometimes it just comes down to personal preference. Like, there's nothing wrong with either snap. You're like, man, these are both so good, but I guess I'll pick this one because I like the villagers more. But somebody else would say, I'm going to pick the other one because I like the lighting more. So that's what I mean about not really knowing what kind of voters you get, not really knowing what you pop up against. That's why there's so much fluctuation in Dreamsnap. That's why sometimes you see snaps that are a bit surprising to see in the 4K. And even sometimes you see snaps in the top 5 that are surprising. But as long as you make the theme exceedingly clear, and you have good lighting, and usually a good villager presence, and just an overall beautiful scene, you can very consistently land in the 4K range. It's just very hard to say where. So, you know, I think if we look at this week's top public snaps, if we look at the public snaps this week, I think the rank 1 is really good. Oops. Like, this is really nice. Awesome to see a deserving rank 1. Really beautiful shot. The lighting is incredible. Love the silhouette behind the avatar. And then we have this one here, which is also, I think, very, very solid. No villagers, though. I definitely saw some snaps I would vote for over this. And I think some other people would as well. But they didn't get those voters, and they didn't pop up against those snaps. Those two things didn't align. I think this is very deserving of a rank 2. You know, I think it's very deserving. But I do think there's snaps out there that could have given this a little bit of trouble, And if they used the new villager toggle, this could have been even more competitive, but it didn't matter. You know, those kind of things only matter if you do pop up against those snaps. That's why we always try to prepare people for that. The more competitive you make your snap, the safer you are for 4K. And then we have this one. And this one's pretty good, but, you know, I think it's deserving of 4K for sure. But I wouldn't really say it's as strong as these two. Like, these are, you know, what you would mostly expect to see. This one's super cute with, you know, I think they did a great job with, like, the outfit and with Pluto. And they have villagers with, like, Woody and Buzz and Goofy and Minnie and Wally and even Figaro. That said, if you were here during the reviews, I mean, we saw a lot of snaps that were, I think, a fair amount stronger than this, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, you know? Just like I said, both times I've, you know, been in the top 3 and also the many times I've been in the top 100, it's not about my snap being better than everybody that ranked behind that. It's just that I got more votes. So I obviously popped up against things that I could contend with, and I got voters that resonate with my idea or my concept. So I guess what I'm saying here is, you know, you guys can land in the top 3 any week. It can happen any week. You could open your mailbox next Wednesday and have a rank 1 Dream Snap. You never know. You really never know. Now, without a very strong snap, that's going to require a ridiculous amount of luck to land in rank 1. You'll have to pop up against, like, you know, if your snap is not very strong, you're going to have to pop up against, like, you know, weaker snaps nonstop to end up at that point. But again, that can happen. You know, a weaker snap can be in the top 3. So, you know. All right. Sorry, I always like to talk about that when anybody asks me about my higher ranks. I just like to point out, you know, that yes, I do have some snaps in the top 3 and a lot of snaps in the top 100. But I don't put too much weight on that. You know, I don't put a ton of stock into that. More than that, I would say it's important to look at your average, like, you know, your average rank, like, because that gives you more of an idea of kind of where you are. So, you know, if you're landing in 4K consistently throughout the year, then yeah, you're likely in the top percentile of players. Whereas if you get 1500 and 2500 and then rank 1, well, it's awesome that you've gotten rank 1. But you probably still have a good bit of, like, learning and growing that you can do to be more consistent. Okay. Mellow Mode, first-time chatter here. Hello, my friend. I got 1500 for the first time since watching your videos. I've never gotten in the top 1K, and I think I'm going, or I've never gotten 1500, and I think I'm going to get 4K. It's also becoming more fun because it feels like there's a craft to it. Absolutely, my friend. And when it comes to Dream Snaps, I'll be honest, when you start to enjoy the craft experience of it, when you start to really explore all the fun stuff you can do with the new villager toggle, when you start to understand the in-game lighting and using the sun to your advantage, and you just genuinely enjoy building your snap, that is usually the quickest road to 4K. Is when you understand the game mechanics, you understand what the voters like, and most importantly, you're enjoying the process. I think one thing that holds a lot of people back is they want the moonstones, like they want the rewards, but they're not really enjoying making a snap. It's more like a chore to them. And when that's the case, you're likely not going to detail it as much. You're likely not going to do creative things with your villagers, because if that's your approach, your whole goal is to throw something together and be done with it because you're not having fun. But if you're having fun with a snap, you'll just keep adding more, and you'll find new things to do, and you might even make multiple snaps and be able to pick the best of the 3. Because you're having so much fun, you don't only build one scene, you don't only build 2 scenes, you end up building 3 or 4 dream snaps because you just love making the scene so much. And yeah, I would definitely say there is certainly a craft to it. There's very consistent things you'll see in the 4K range. We talk about that quite a bit. And when you enjoy the process, when you have fun making your builds, and you're like, oh, it would be so cool to have this companion at the front. I'll use like a little Pixar companion ball and I'll get them jumping around. And then, oh, you know, for like explosion of colors, some people had some really fun ideas about using like monochromatic villagers. They're like, oh, we're doing explosion of colors. What if I had Oswald looking confused at all the colors? Like that kind of stuff is what you'll come up with when you're enjoying the process, when you're having fun with the process, and you'll get excited about it. You know, it's a really good way to approach Dream Snaps. Let's see. I saw somebody ask about the villagers. It was encrypted angels. Oh, here it is. What I don't understand is how people get so many Disney characters in their snaps. Only way I can get one villager in a snap is if I hang out with them and then do a selfie only. Oh, well, you're in the right place, encrypted angels. So, it's more than the villager toggle, Breezy. But you know, the villager toggle is one of the best things. So, encrypted angels, I'm going to show you 2 things that's going to completely change the way you view getting villagers into snaps. And this is going to help everyone here. So, unless you already know this, then it won't be helpful because you already know. Yeah, we're getting to that, encrypted. We're getting to that. But the toggle only brings them to the area. Doesn't make them gather around the camera. As soon as I'm out of selfie mode, they wander off. Yeah. Well, they won't wander off until you close the camera. So the trick is to build your scene first. And I'll show you 2 things. Like I said, just chill for a second. I'll show you exactly how to do it. And I'll give you an example, too. I want you to look at this snap. I'm about to show you how you can do this. This was my Journey into Imagination Expo. I made a whole world fair. Look at all these villagers. We got Merlin, we got Mike, we got Donald, we got Eve, we got Daisy. We have Olaf, we have Joy, we have Gaston, we have Jafar, we have Sully, we have Hercules, we have Sadness, we have Cogsworth, we have Mushu, we have Stitch, we have Lumiere, we have Remy, we have Lady, we have Woody, we have Buzz, we have Ariel, we have Oswald, we have Scrooge, we have Minnie, we have Tramp, we have Vanellope, we have Wally, we have Belle, we have Beast, we have Anna, we have Kristoff, we have Eric, we have Tigger, we have Maleficent, we have Goofy, we have Hades, we have Scrooge, and we have Tiana. So how did I do that? How did I do that? How did I get all these villagers here? Because, you know, you can summon villagers to a floating island, but if they're in the Scrooge shop, or if they're in their house, or if they're in a restaurant, they will not show up. So how did I get them all here? Well, I'll show you, and you'll know. You'll know forever. You'll never wonder again. You'll never wonder how people do this. It's actually very easy. But surprisingly, a lot of people don't know about this. So if you know about this, you're going to have a little bit of an advantage. So right here, you know, here's the well. And we have a lot of villagers here, as you can see, but not everybody. And if I want to summon more villagers to my floating island, you can press Y on the map screen, and anybody you highlight will show up as long as they're not inside of a house, or as long as they're not inside the Scrooge shop. But how do I get the rest of them? You know, what if I want to use Scrooge and Mickey and Goofy, but Scrooge is, you know, he has the house icon, so he's in his shop. How do I get them? So even though I just toggled on a bunch of villagers, hardly any of them showed up. Well, you're going to use a villager summoning item. Now, when you use these items, they will summon 4 to 5 random villagers. You don't get to pick. But if you keep using this over and over, if you use it for about 5 minutes, see, there's Pooh, you'll end up with every single villager in the game on this floating island. They'll all be here. It only takes about 5 minutes. And what you're going to do is you're going to build a fence around this item. You're going to build a fence so that they can't escape and all wander into your photo. And then you'll be able to use your villager toggle to place only the ones you want to use. And as long as you don't close your camera mode, they will not leave. So don't place villagers until you're done building your scene. Because you do not want to have to... You do not want to have to exit camera mode and restart everything. I mean, you wouldn't have to restart everything. They'll stay on the floating island as long as you don't leave. So this is the last thing I do before I add villagers to my scene. This way I can always use exactly who I want to use and where I want to use them. And you just keep using this. And villager summoning items are totally free. They are given out as quest rewards by most villagers. Almost everybody has a villager summoning item as a quest reward. Like there's the Joy and Sadness Fireworks, the Sadness Pillow, the Unbirthday Cake, the Nonsense Banquet, the Valley Pirate Treasure. You know, that's just a few that I have favorited. But there's tons more. The Frozen Hot Cocoa stand. I mean, the little statue I'm using right here, this comes from Lumiere. You do Lumiere's quest, you'll get this. And there's even some premium shop options, but you really, really don't have to use the premium shop options. You really don't. But yeah, you just keep on summoning villagers with this. And you keep them trapped in, closed in a fence here. Keep in mind, if you go inside of a house or you leave the floating island, they'll all leave too. So you'll have to do this all over again. That's why this is the last thing you'll want to do. Once you build your scene, once you construct your scene and you put it all together, that's when you'll start summoning everybody. That is, if you can't just toggle them onto the floating island. So you don't always have to do this. Sometimes all the villagers you want to use will be free. And as you saw here, when we arrived, there were already a bunch of villagers here. So if we had who we wanted to use right there, then we wouldn't have to do this. But if there's a bunch of people you want to use and they're stuck inside their home or they're stuck inside the Scrooge shop or they're in a restaurant, this will summon everybody regardless of where they are or what they're doing. Again, it is random who it summons. It's random. Yo, Glitz and Dram, we got a brand new Prime sub. Welcome to the community, my friend. Welcome. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. Greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. Also, Little Kitten said there are some that only summon 2, some that summon 4, but I don't know which ones summon the most. Yeah, I think around 5 is about the most. I like this one. I think this one might only summon 4. I can't remember. But yeah, there are some that only summon 2. Yeah, the New Year's golden backdrop can be good. But yeah, as you can see here, we've only been doing this for a few minutes, and we got quite the roster here. And you only, like I said, you only need to do this like nonstop if you are looking for some very specific villagers. But for me, I've always been able to get who I wanted here just with like maybe 5 minutes of time. And here's the other fun thing. This works indoors as well. So if you've ever seen an indoor snap that has a bunch of villagers, for example, check out my Cozy Holiday Cheer submission. For Cozy Holiday Cheer, I hid my avatar, and we made a Christmas party. We have Christmas Belle, we have Christmas Merlin, we have Joy for Joy to the World, we have Anna in her winter outfit, we have Cinderella in her winter outfit, we have Ariel in her Christmas outfit, we have Mickey in his Christmas outfit, we have Eve in her Christmas outfit, and then we just have Aurora because she's looking pretty on the side. And all I did was use a villager summoning item, and then I toggled off all the villagers I didn't want, and froze the ones I did. So you can use this indoors as well. So on a floating island, indoors, you know, whatever you want to do. And then once you have all your villagers, then it's just as simple as going to your scene. I do recommend keeping them trapped, so once you leave the fenced-in area, I would reseal it. That way you don't have to spend 10 minutes toggling off all the villagers you don't want to use, and they're not going to photobomb you. If you don't have them trapped, they'll just keep wandering into your photo, and you'll have to, you know, you'll have to go through the process of toggling each of the ones you don't want to use off, and that's just time you don't need to spend, because if you keep them trapped, there's no need to do that. So we have all of our villagers. Let's say we wanted to use Mickey. We'll bring him in right here. We'll have Goofy in the background because he's a bit taller. We'll do... You know, Scrooge was in his house, in his shop. He wasn't an option when I summoned villagers to the island, but here he is now. We'll have Scrooge there. We'll just do a little bit of a Mickey and Friends lineup, you know? We'll bring Daisy in. We got Minnie here. Put her right here. And we got Donald. I wasn't even looking for the specific Mickey and Friends cast, but we got them all. And there you go. That's all it takes. Encrypted Angel says thank you so much to you and the chat. Of course, my friend, of course. You know, Dreamsnaps is the main thing I cover here, my friend. It's the main thing. I absolutely love Dreamsnaps, but I'll never gatekeep any secrets or information. My goal is to, for anybody that comes by my channel, whether they're brand new, a brand new friend, or somebody that's been here for months, my goal is to give everyone as much knowledge as possible so that they can earn 4,000 Moonstones consistently. Because if you think about it, about 7,000 to 9,000 players weekly earn 4,000 Moonstones. So there's plenty of spots for all of us. I'm not that big of a streamer. Usually there's only a few hundred people watching me. So there's room in the 4K zone for all of us. For all of us. And, you know, I just want us all to be there. I want you guys to have the tools necessary to really enjoy making your snaps. And I also want you to be able to get some cool rewards from the premium shop. I mean, you know, I love being able to work as a content creator. I've been doing this for like 6 years, and it's a real dream come true to be able to make content for a living. And I've just found that sharing, you know, Dreamsnaps knowledge and what I've learned about the systems in the game is a great way to give back to the community that gives me so much. Eternity Bliss said, sorry, I just tuned in. What's a villager summoning item, may I ask? There's a handful of them. Essentially, a villager summoning item is an item that has an interact option that allows you to just summon villagers to you. There's several of them in the game. The nice thing about this is that most of them are free. So if you... I have many of them favorited. So the fox and the raccoon sculpture. You can usually tell when it's a villager summoning item because it'll have a really big footprint. Like, this is a tiny little set of statues, but it's got a big open footprint on it. This one you get from Lumiere when you level him up. There's the Joy and Sadness fireworks. You can also see the big footprint on the item here. So villager summoning items are typically quest rewards you get midway through or near the end of a quest. And when you walk up to these items, on the bottom left side of your screen, you're going to see an option that says Gather Villagers. And when you press that option, it will randomly summon. So this one summoned, it looks like 4. I think Minnie was walking by. So it summoned the Forgotten, it summoned Sally, it summoned Beast, and it summoned Wally. And then, you know, we have the Joy and Sadness fireworks here. This one summoned, looks like 3. Unless, I think it summoned Piglet as well. No, I think Piglet, did it summon him? It looks like it summoned him because he's staying stationary. So the Joy and Sadness fireworks only summoned 3. So some of them summon different amounts of villagers. Let's check the banquet. I think this one might be 5. So this one gave us Piglet, Beast, Eric, Timon, and Lady. So yeah, this one summons 5. And this one you get from Cheshire Cat, I believe. So this could be a great one. I think 5 is the most they'll summon. But yeah, some of them will only summon like 2 or 3. Some of them will summon 4, like the raccoon sculpture. Some will summon 5. You don't get to pick who shows up. But if you just keep spamming it, you know, you can get pretty much all the villagers there, no matter where they are, like whether they're in their house or in the Scrooge shop or in Chez Remy's. That's why I love using this, because you can always pick exactly who you want for your Dream Snaps. So for like Cherished Childhood, I wanted all the playful villagers. I wanted it to feel very playful. So, you know, we have Vanellope kind of jumping up behind the cake. We have Buzz jumping up here. We have Tigger jumping up. We have Olaf looking really excited. I love Woody looking up at Buzz. I thought that was super funny. We have Stitch. We have Mushu. Sadness is back here with the Forgotten. I thought that was kind of clever to like put these two together, but they're just hidden in the back. You know, Joy over here leaping. And then on this side, we have Lady, Remy, Timon, Oswald, Sully, Peter Pan, and Tinkerbell together. So I used the same trick I just showed you guys, where I summoned a bunch of villagers, and then I went through the toggle and I was like, okay, who's really playful and fun for this like kid's birthday event? You know, who would be a good playful villager to include? So we focused entirely on like playfulness, since that's what the challenge asked for. And this is a great way to do some storytelling with your snap. And just remember, when you do summon villagers, don't forget to cycle through their animations and pause them, because you can have them doing really fun stuff. Like, it looks like Peter's sitting on the presents, but he's actually just doing his laugh emote where he floats in the air. And, you know, Tinkerbell's doing the confused emote because she's, like, figuring out why Peter's up here laughing. Oswald's doing his hello where he jumps up. It makes him a little bit more visible. Vanellope was doing her celebrate emote, which has her kind of leap from side to side. Tigger was doing his celebrate where he jumps up really high. Joy was doing her celebrate. Stitch is doing his celebrate. I forget what I had Woody doing. But yeah. So not only do you want to, you know, bring in some villagers for a bit of storytelling, but really think about how you can use them. You'll see this a lot in the 4K range. You'll see a lot of people getting very, very creative with the way they showcase villagers. I mean, we're about to look at some Dreamsnap reviews right now, but if I pull up some examples of Lazy Cozy Day, there's some really clever scenes. You know, we have this, like, family scene here for this Lazy Cozy Day. It's raining outside. It's a rainy day. And we've got some treats. We got some hot cocoa and some cookies. We got the puppies playing. And we got the couple here, and their little kiddo is watching TV. This is very clever, the way they tell a story with this submission. This would be from Plum Bob. We'll be reviewing this one here shortly. But this is what I mean about, you know, being able to choose exactly who you want to. Because if Vanellope was in the Scrooge shop, or, you know, one of the puppies was at home, without a villager summoning item, you wouldn't be able to make this exact scene. But since you can use a villager summoning item and you can pick whoever you want, you can tell the perfect story for what you want to create. And this cycles back to having fun with Dreamsnaps. This is where you'll see a lot of success with Dreamsnaps, is really enjoying yourself throughout that creative process. You know, you can come up with some really fun, clever ways to tell a story. And voters do tend to love a storytelling snap. All right. Oh, hey, Pops. Welcome, welcome. My dad is here. Hello, Dad. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. Dovey versus I only learned last week. Nice, my friend. Just an added tip, but be sure to look into which villager gathering item you use. How many villagers you summon depends on which item you use. Oh, yeah, we covered that. You might have commented that a while ago. But yeah, we discussed some do 2, some do 3, some do 4, some do 5. That was pretty much planned to be discussed at the back end of me telling people to use the villagers. We want to start with the basics. We want to start with the basics, kind of explaining how to trap them, explaining what a villager summoning item is, and then showcase after that you can summon multiple different villagers. But yeah, I didn't see your comment until now. Yeah, the Unbirthday Cake does summon a lot. It's just so large. Well, I think the Birthday Cake, I think two of the ones that can summon the most would be the Unbirthday Cake. It's huge. Which I think I have that one favorited too for that reason. Yeah, I have this one favorited as well. And there's another one too. I think one of the stages can also summon quite a few. And this you get from Alice. Beyond this one, we got... looks like Timon, Elsa, Peter Pan, Eric, Mulan, Jasmine, and Hades. Oh, no, not Timon. He left, so it wasn't him. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. Oh, Piglet. Oh, Piglet and Eeyore. No, I think Eric... no, Eric's not included. Wait, he might be. No, he's not. He's not. He's emoting. So, it's actually these two that were included. I just didn't see him behind the table. Yeah, we have Lumiere. Yeah, the Unbirthday Cake is good. I just usually don't have a lot of room for it, and it gets so crowded here. So, I like to use... I usually use my Fox Sculpture, or... because it's nice and tiny, and I can move it around. Because one thing that gets annoying when you're summoning them is when you have a lot of villagers crammed into the fenced-in area. You can always make a bigger one. But when you have a lot of villagers crammed in there, sometimes you won't get the option to gather more, and you'll have to move it. So I like the smaller ones because I can move them around, like away from the villagers, and it makes it easier for me to interact with again. But yeah, you can use anyone you want, you know. Using one that summons like 5 to 7 of them can be really nice because you can fill it out faster. And keep in mind, there is always a chance the villager summoning item will summon people you already have present. So, you know, sometimes it can take a few tries to get exactly who you want. Crispy, Crispin, Kristen. Hello, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Did you make your shirt for that snap? Which one? Which one? You can't make clothing for Dreamsnaps. Oh, the tie-dye? No, that's a shirt that I have. You can't use Touch of Magic in Dreamsnaps. So I actually ended up choosing the tie-dye because I thought it worked really good with the explosion of color. And it was, you know, it was fun and unique. Surprisingly, I didn't really see a lot of people using the tie-dye. Maybe a lot of people don't have it. I can see where it comes from. I've had it for a while, so I don't remember where I got it. But yeah, when I did snap reviews, I actually didn't see this Spirit jersey much at all. And it's really fun. Like, it's really good for explosion of colors, I think. Let me see where it comes from. Give me a second. Give me a second. It's called the Magical Tie-Dye. There we go. Magical Tie-Dye Spirit Jersey. Oh, it was from the, yeah, Star Path. It was from the Disney Park Star Path. So, a pretty old one. It was from 2023. Was this the first Disney Park Star Path? Oh, it is, yeah. It was the very first Disney Park Star Path we had with the Pixar Pal around. So, I've actually never used this tie-dye shirt before in a Dreamsnap, so I was kind of excited when I was making my outfit. For my example scene for the challenge, I always try to look a little bit different than I did in my YouTube videos, because I don't ever want people to, you know, like thousands of people see my Snap Guide videos, and I don't want people to automatically know it's my Dreamsnap. And also, some people that watch my Snap Guide videos will just kind of replicate exactly what I did in the scene. I don't want people to do that. I want people to have their own fun ideas. I just want to give inspiration, but there's not much I can do about it, you know? There's not much I can do about people just kind of copying what I did in the video, so it is what it is. But because of that, I can't do the same thing I did in the video because then my snap won't really be unique. So I usually change the outfit a little bit. And if we look at my snap examples for that particular challenge, I was actually wearing the Pride jersey for those. Let me see if I can find it here. So yeah, in the example scene, I was using, which I really like this outfit. I would have used it if I didn't put it in the video. But I was using the Pride jersey with the rainbow wings and with the colorful skirt here. But then for my, since so many people see these videos, like as far as my streams go, we have a couple hundred people here right now. There's like 50 people on YouTube. So there's like a good chunk of people here, but it's not quite the same as 5,000 views on a YouTube video where, it gets shared around and a lot of people see the build and the outfit. So I usually change my snap a little bit. I did really like the outfit I had on in the example scenes, but I thought the tie-dye worked really good for the explosion of colors concept, and it is a super unique shirt. I've never used it before, so I was kind of excited to use it. All right. Well, guys, I think it's about time. Zombie said, I've seen this outfit so much this week. You're talking about the Pride one? It's a good option. Even for people that don't watch my videos, you're probably going to see them using it because with the challenge being explosions of color, this is one of the more colorful fits in the game. So the Pride jersey is a base game item. It's totally free, so a lot of people have it. The redemption code for this Pride sweater still works. So a lot of people have this, and it's extremely colorful. It's got like all the colors of the rainbow. The skirt here, this is the most colorful skirt in the game. So yeah, I'm not surprised you've seen a lot of these this week. They'll probably be very, very, very common, even from people that did not watch my video. Will likely have some of these items in their snap. Same with the Phoenix wings. These were actually in the shop the week of this challenge, and these have all the colors of the rainbow, so they'll probably also be very common this week. And a lot of people, they try to make the theme as clear as possible, like as clear and direct as possible. So, a lot of people just wanted to go very colorful where they could. All right. Well, it's already 4:08. Let's dive into snap reviews. We got a lot of ground to cover if I want to put a dent in them before Monday. Okay. So, this week's challenge is called Lazy Cozy Day. It says build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. Enjoy and then give some examples, right, of like what you could do. Enjoy a pot of honey like Winnie the Pooh, or a bit of fine cheese like Remy on a carefree afternoon. So it's really playing up the treats here. And if you look in the example scenes, there's treats in each of them. Like on this table, there's a little pie. On this one, there's some cookies on the table here. And then we have like a little treat here and a little treat here. So for this challenge, it's lazy, it's cozy, and you're just kind of relaxing with some treats. Now, there's a lot of ways to go about this. So as with many of the challenges we've seen lately, there's a lot of open-ended flexibility on how you could go about creating a scene like this. When it comes to cozy, cozy describes a physical or emotional state of being comfortably warm, sheltered, and relaxed. It often refers to a small, inviting space that feels safe and intimate. It can also describe a friendly conversation, or less commonly, a conspirational relationship? Interesting. But what we'll focus on here is the sensation of, physical or emotional comfort, warmth. When it comes to sheltered, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be indoors. You don't have to have a roof over your head. You could be sheltered in a nice little nook in the forest with a picnic. You could be indoors, of course. But as you can see from, relaxed is the important thing. You want it to be a very relaxing Dreamsnap Probably keep the energy levels low. So if you were to use villagers, it probably will be a good idea not to have everyone jumping around, celebrating, and freaking out, right? You want to make it very relaxed, very calm, very cozy. That doesn't mean villagers can't be celebrating in your snap, by the way. But if you look at the example scenes, that's kind of what we see here. We see this villager kind of in their PJs with their puppy hanging out. This one's kind of dressed for a day on the couch. They got a good book next to them, kitty cat walking by. And this is an outdoor example where they're in this little garden nook with some beautiful flowers and bushes, nice safe little environment, checking out the wildlife with the bee, right? Now, as for lazy generally means an unwillingness to exert effort or a disinclination to work. It describes someone who avoids activity as well as things that are slow-moving or sluggish. That's why I mentioned, for this week's theme, it'd probably be more competitive not to have a bunch of people jumping around going crazy. But if you did do that, as long as it still feels cozy, and as long as it's a pretty snap, I'm sure people will still vote for it. Though, like I always say with these Dreamsnap reviews, I always try to be very, very on point with what the theme is saying. That way, you're in a position to win over the picky voters and the not-so-picky voters. It won't always matter. I would say a majority of voters will just choose your snap if it's clear you attempted the theme and you put good effort in and you made a beautiful photo. They're not going to nitpick. They're not going to say, well, I don't know, 2 of your villagers look very high energy, so I can't vote for you. But if you get unlucky enough to actually land some very picky voters, or if you're up against another snap where they have to choose which one to vote on based on maybe who did the theme even better. Like I had a friend message me for the Cherished Childhood snap, and they got 1,500 for it. They did things good. It was definitely a good cherished childhood memory because it was like a beach day, and they had some good playful villagers. And they were like, I don't know what I did wrong. And it's like, well, it's not that you did something wrong. It's just that you were likely up against scenes that did the playfulness a bit better. If you look at what was getting 4K in Cherished Childhood, there were a lot of scenes that included very, either somebody playing hopscotch with a bunch of friends in their neighborhood, very energetic. There were a lot of scenes with toys, like a lot of indoor scenes with like a kid's playroom and toys everywhere. There were birthday party scenes. There were so many scenes that had extremely high levels of playfulness. And that's what we saw do very well. So, when a snap doesn't get 4K, it doesn't necessarily mean it did things wrong. It's just that you likely popped up against snaps that did things really well. And that's why I tend to be, very clear and direct with what the theme says. Because if you do pop up against snaps like that, sometimes it can come down to who's even more direct with the theme. And I think it can definitely help. Now, keep in mind, before we review our first snap, guys, before we get into our very first review here, when I review snaps, the advice that I give is it's never about my personal preferences, because that would not help you. Me telling you what I like, I am just one person. Now, sometimes people say, hey, Sib, I have 2 options. I can't pick one for me, whichever you like more. That's fine. But when it comes to my advice, like getting the camera closer to the avatar or fixing your lighting, that advice is not coming from me. That advice is coming from the voters. So what we do, and I've done every Dreamsnap challenge there's ever been, and every week we look at a lot of 4K snaps, and we see what's popular. We see what keeps getting 4K week after week after week, no matter what the themes are. The same things always happen. Now that we have the new villager toggle, people that are using villagers in very creative ways tend to perform very well. Lighting is extremely big in 4K, like scenes that are properly lit. Not a lot of dark spots or shadows throughout the scene, unless it's like a villainous kind of vibe. And then things like, balance, composition, foreground elements, things that we see in 4K every single week. That's what my advice is about. It's about what voters appear to gravitate towards. So, I always like to be very clear about that before we do the reviews. I want you guys to know where the advice is coming from and why. Otherwise, it might not be as helpful. Because if you don't know that the advice we're giving is related to what people vote for, then it might feel a little bit more optional. But if you want to get 4K consistently, not only do you want to have fun with your snap and enjoy yourself, but you also always want to be cautious of what the voters tend to gravitate towards. Okay. And with that, let's take a look at some Dream Snaps. All right, primary reviews. Here we go. Up first is C.R. Bailey. Oh, very cool, very cool. Okay. So we got a nice, lazy, cozy day here watching TV. Love the way you set this up. That's really fun. Got the little Dreamlight entertainment stand. I love the clever way that you caught lady here with the pose. Like she's looking up at the TV. That's super fun. Nice little fish tank in the back. Good seated pose. I love the slippers. This definitely feels like a good, lazy, cozy day. You got some good treats set up, which we talked about as well. Now, for your scene, I do think you can do the hot cocoa if you want. I think the hot cocoa is fun. But did you consider root beer? I think root beer could be really cool here because you're kind of dressed for a summer day. You have the tank top on. You have the shorts. It looks like, it doesn't look like winter necessarily. And I do think the root beer could be really cute because it has a striped straw, which would kind of match the popcorn. Again, not something you absolutely have to do, but I do think that could be kind of cute here. And the other thing that could be fun is if you were able to get one more villager, especially if you trapped them in the room and you were able to get them to sit on the couch. Now, unfortunately, you can't toggle them onto the couch and you can't force them onto the couch. But if you pause lady here and you're chilling here, really you would just have to have the villager walking around and see if you can get him to sit down with you. But that could be really fun. Just give you an additional villager there. But yeah, definitely on theme. Very creative scene, very creative shot. Ultimately, how it performs will come down to what it pops up against, but I really like your concept this week. Plum Bob is next. We just looked at this one a moment ago. We have two options from Plum Bob here. And we have this cute little family scene. So we have Vanellope on the couch, watching Wreck-It Ralph. We have the puppies playing over here. And I love the rainy day outside. We have this rainy day with these thunderstorm clouds. A little bit of an indoor-outdoor build. Very clever way to do this. And then this nice romantic scene. Now, between your two options, Plum Bob, I think this one is the best. This one also is really cute. I love the way Eric's kind of laughing, and we have the dogs here. We can see Vanellope still watching TV here. But this one definitely feels like a little less energetic, which works really good for the lazy and coziness. And I love the little romantic look here. I think voters will be very impressed with the way you set up the pose here. And you still got a great shot of the dogs. But yeah, really you could do either one of these. But I do think this one is exceptionally strong. I also love that we have a nice little board game here. That's super cute. Love the storm clouds outside, though. Very, very strong. Plum Bob, great job. No recommendations really here. I think the hot cocoa works for like the thunderstorm weather outside. Next up, we have Dreamer. Dreamer said I did a simple snap, brewing tea, cozy bedroom. Okay. All right, very cute. We got you here on the chair. We got a little fireplace with the tea. That's really fun. And then we have you here in some PJs. I like that you left the shoes off and went with like the socks on the feet here. You got some different rugs in the environment. Yeah, very cute, very cute. You did stick a picture, like a painting, back here behind this cupboard. I would maybe take the painting and put it over here on this side so it looks like it's behind the fireplace. Because, the cupboards are already, like, filling out this spot for you. And, you know, it having the painting kind of like, I don't know. I've never been to somebody's house and seen a cupboard against the wall, and then there's like a painting on the wall behind it. You know what I mean? So this could be fun to kind of include over here on the side if you wanted to. But I do like that you're using some of the new items. Now, if you unlock some more of the new items, there are some really cute rugs you can use here. And if you were to use the villager summoning items, you know, to bring some more villagers indoors, if you can unlock Eeyore, if you're going with like a cozy indoor Winnie the Pooh day, Eeyore is going to work really well for the lazy aspect. He just has very low energy. He's super chill. So maybe instead of like this flower pot here, because you have a flower pot here and a flower pot here, but I think these flower pots are going to be a bit better in an outdoor environment. They are very pretty though. But I think instead of the flower pot here, Eeyore would be really cute to have. And then maybe a little table, because you have this table here back against the wall with the lamp on it. I would have a little table next to you with some kind of treat. Because again, let's go back to what the theme said. It said, build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. So you are brewing some tea, but you see how everybody else is playing up the treats? Like we have the cookies here, and we have the cookies and the popcorn and the cheese puffs here. So everybody's playing up treats, and many other people are as well. You do have the teapot here, but I think there are some better things we can use than the honeypot flowers right here. You could take one of them and kind of put it in the corner right here, maybe on the edge of the build, but open up the space around you a little bit to have like a little table next to you that features, you know, maybe some cookies or some kind of tasty little treat. Could be macaroons, could be a lot of things. And then I think bringing Eeyore into your scene could be very good as well. It does feel very warm and cozy though. I would encourage you lastly to consider a warm color for your hairstyle as well. Just to really make, you know, I think it's going to play really well with the environment. You know, you could do a red, you could do a gold, or even a light brown. It looks like you're still using the same hair, eyeshadow, and makeup that you used for explosions of color. And it kind of stands out a lot here because it doesn't look like it fits with the environment as much. You know, you're in your pajamas. You're having a lazy, cozy day. So why are we so dolled up? You know, why have we done really dramatic eyeshadow? It's a small thing, you know, but think about how we were talking about being extremely specific and extremely clear with the theme. I would kind of tone down the, you know, because the top of your avatar here says, you know, I'm about to go to a party. And the bottom half says, or the bottom part here says, I'm staying in all day. I want to relax. I'm in my PJs. I'm not putting shoes on. So a warm color with the hair, I think would play really nicely here. Kind of toning down the eyeshadow a little bit. Like I said, I think you just left on your hair color and makeup from the last challenge. Always consider your avatar, every detail of your avatar for the new challenge. You know, don't just leave things over. Again, attention to detail and effort is what will help you contend with the other 4K snaps. And yeah, be mindful of maybe Eeyore, because he could be really good for this theme. Now, Vari is next. We have this cozy little picnic day. And this is what I mean. You know, look at the hair and makeup here. A lot more muted. We have a nice warm color for the eyeshadow here. And we do have Remy, Pooh, and Tigger. Now, Tigger, I think, is great, but he is very energetic. My advice here, Navaria, would be to add Eeyore. I think Eeyore would, again, I think he's fantastic for this week. With it being a lazy, cozy day, I think bringing in Eeyore would work really well here. Because he's just, you know, he's so low energy. And he'll help balance Tigger out a little bit. Maybe you don't have him unlocked just yet when you submitted this. Because I see you submitted this on Wednesday. So you probably didn't have him unlocked, but now you probably do. So you can put him in here. The other thing I would recommend, Nelvaria, is when we look at the challenge, it says build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. So how do we make it feel warm? Well, for one, the sunset time of day is going to really help with warmth, and then warm colors are going to aid with that as well. So you have these Winnie the Pooh decor trees in the back. These have these little warm lanterns that hang down, but they're currently off. So I would give this a try at like sunset, and then also the gray, all the gray like paving here and the white flowers. I do think there's warmer notes you could use here, but I would try to play up the warm tones to make it like extra cozy. Like you can even do some little candles. You could do the orange leaf frogs. There's all kinds of things you can do. Now, even if you don't make changes here, I think this has a great shot at 4K. It's really good framing on the avatar. You know, it's a little cozy picnic. Feels very sheltered. Feels like a good, cozy, lazy day. Though, I think there are a few things you could do to make it a bit more competitive, because I think there are going to be some snaps that you'll see that feel like they have a lot of warmth and coziness. So I would consider the warmth aspect a little bit more here. But again, even with no changes, I think it has a great shot at 4K. Dree GG. We got Dree here. Okay, very nice. We got Eeyore in the shot. Awesome, awesome. Really great shot of the avatar here. Very pretty scene. I love the tasty treats. We got these like little carrots, these honey carrots here. We have a little pie here. Eeyore looks really good. Piglet looks adorable. Very good framing on the scene. I like the silhouette in the back here. Now, Tigger is very energetic for Lazy Day, but I think voters are going to love seeing a reunion with these four. And most of Tigger's poses are going to be pretty energetic. But I think like his confused pose and some of the others do seem a little bit more relaxed. If you do want him jumping for joy in the background, that's totally fine. He does fill out this space very nicely. So if you want to keep Tigger like this, go right ahead. But if you want to make your snap have more of a relaxed feel, like some of the other snaps, just in case you get voters that are super picky, or in case you end up, matched up with snaps that are very low energy, and people have to choose between the two, it could be a good idea to have Tigger, tone it down a tiny bit. But again, I actually really like Tigger in this, but it's not about what I like. We're just thinking about the theme here. But yeah, I feel like this is very safe for 4K, to be honest. I think it's very, very likely for 4K. It plays up the treats, it plays up the warmth, and this is what I meant when I was talking about the warm notes. So, this has a lot of cool notes. The gray, the white, the blue. There's a lot of cool colors here, and some good warm colors, but this feels very warm. We have the oranges down here at the base, we have the yellow, we have a lot of warm notes down here, then we have the warm notes on the flowers, on the honey, up here at the top, and then we have like the fireflies adding more warmth, the red door back here adding more warmth, and then the sunset time of day bringing in even more coziness and warmth. So I do think this is very strong as it is, but if you're interested in doing a secondary review at all, Dree, I would love to see what it looks like with like some alternative options for Tigger here. Could be cool to check out. But even as it is, like if you don't have time for that, don't worry. I think this is a really strong snap. Miss Spock is next. I don't know if this is on theme. Thank you for the review as always. All right, we'll take a look. All right, so we have Eeyore chilling here. We have Tigger. We have you here, and some honey, and some of the honeyed milk here. We got some good warm notes. Cute outfit. So, I would say yes, it is on theme. It feels like a nice little cozy pocket here. But what a lot of people are doing to really play up that lazy day is they're doing the seated pose to come off as really relaxed. So we see people in chairs, like just kind of chilling. We see people sitting on picnic blankets. And then we see like, little huggy scenes like this that just, are really in the moment and kind of carefree, like no work, you know. The bee pose is really pretty, and I think the avatar looks really good here. And the framing is nice, and you got some great villager presence. But I do think it may be a stronger play this week to try to find ways to showcase that your avatar is feeling very relaxed or very low energy. And I think that's easier to communicate with some of the seated options. Though, you know, I think something like this can totally work as well. And this could definitely still get 4K as it is. So you don't have to worry that this is not on theme. I definitely think it is. You have like the little board game back here. But if you did alter the scene a little bit to where, you know, we found a way to have the avatar seem more relaxed, you could have her sitting in a chair or on a bench. You could have her sitting on the ground, like with the different poses we've seen. One thing that some people do is they do the fox pose with the board game. So you can have the little board game and you can do the fox pose and you can be, you know, kind of laying on a blanket, playing a board game with Piglet. That could be super cute. Piglet could be cheering that, you know, they just won. Eeyore looks very relaxed here. Looks very cozy. Pooh looks very cozy. This side is a bit more energetic. So all of this is a bit more energetic. This is a bit more relaxed. You definitely want joy and happiness in your scene, for sure. But even relaxed can still be really happy if we look at Pooh here. Jedi Lauren is next. Beautiful scene here. Beautiful scene, Jedi. Oh, you even got the new hedgehog. He's so cute. Look at that. Oh, you included the little hedgehog house. That's adorable. Yeah, this feels super cozy, Jedi. I think this will be a guaranteed 4K for sure here. Playing up a lot of really good strengths. You know, we talked about the seated poses, I think, being very strong this week just because they're very relaxed. You know, you're not up and about. You're not exploring. You're just having a nice lazy day. You're sitting down, having some treats. We got the new gang here. You know, we got Piglet and Pooh and Eeyore and even this adorable little bee hedgehog. And you featured your treats kind of right at the front of the scene to make that very clear and obvious. Got a great silhouette in the back. We got these beautiful little jarred lanterns kind of hanging up in the trees. And you're hanging the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh sign down here right in the left. Very noticeable. I would not change a single thing about this, Jedi. I think this is very solid. Very safe for 4K. Really good job. Great framing. Great villager presence. You could try Tigger being a bit more calm, but you really don't have to because if he's not jumping up, he won't be as visible. So, you know, there's not really too many places you can put him. And everybody else is chill enough. You know, like, Pooh's just giving a little wave. You're sitting on the ground. Piglet's being Piglet. And Eeyore, he helps balance out Tigger's energy a lot. Now, Tanya's, I really like this one as well. Very good job here, Tanya. Very good job. Feels very warm. And again, very good warm notes on these last ones here, you know. These feel very warm and cozy. So we got our new flowers on display here. We got another cute little picnic set up. Got some pancakes. We got some honeyed milk. Piglet here, Pooh, and Eeyore. Yeah, this feels very relaxed. Even the poses and the way you're displaying the villagers, everyone seems really chill, which is great. And then having Pooh's house as the centerpiece, I think is really good. Definitely feels like a great, lazy, cozy day. All I'm looking at here is like, you know, is there something we can do to dress up the foreground a tiny bit here? Like, I wouldn't add more food. You got enough going on with, like, the little pancakes here. And this little guy, the little honeyed milk. Like, I see some flowers coming in right here. Ooh, what about the new leaves? That could look really good if you can fit one of the new leaves right here or maybe right here. The ones that glow, they could be really pretty. So I'm talking about the Yeah, because I was trying to think about something fun for your foreground. Just to fill it out a tiny bit more. I need to put some more trees in this area so my leaves spawn again. But I'm talking about the oak leaves. These are so pretty. But yeah, that could be super cute at the base of your shot, since you guys are kind of like in this forested area. And not only will they work really well with the environment that you're in, but they have a really cute animation, really warm animation with the way the light comes off and the way these little orbs come off of them. They're beautiful, really good beauty factor here too. And I think these little orbs would balance out well with the fireflies you have in the backdrop. So I think you do have one of the leaves here, because I see these gold beams kind of coming up around this flower. But the reason I would have the leaves a tiny bit closer is because we do have a little bit of opportunity around the blanket. So you got a nice pocket right here, and we got a nice pocket here. So we can always take the honey milk. I don't know if we can get any closer to this. The footprint might be stopping it. But if we were able to have like a little leaf kind of creeping in at the base here and a little leaf over here, could be really nice. Or maybe a candle on this side and the leaf in the middle. That could work well. Even if you have to take the pancakes and like move them back onto the picnic blanket a little bit, that could be good. But yeah, looking really, really good here. I think this is another very, very safe submission for 4K Tanya. Well done. I think I actually featured this one on the thumbnail today. Snowdrop is next. Okay, very good here, Snowdrop. Very good. Love the little rainbow back here. That's super cute. And again, very low energy here. Eeyore definitely helps with that. Feels like a nice lazy day. We got Pooh. We got Eeyore. We got Piglet. And you got all the treats around you. Super cute outfit. I like that you're not going like really heavy with the makeup here. It's more of a relaxed, just like a chill day. Like you did do a little bit of a cream colored kind of eyeshadow here, but you didn't take it super far. Like the picnic area, cute little blankets, really good silhouette around the avatar. Looks like you have one of those like, there's just a lot of good light coming in behind you. For one, this rug puts off light with these gold patches. And then it looks like there's just really good light catching right behind you as well. I love the little walkway you're doing with the new wood planks. You got the new fence featured. Yeah, really pretty. Another very, very solid submission. Good job, Snowdrop. Good job. I think this is another one that's very safe for 4K. Well done. Left Shark is next. We got this one here. I just like the way it turned out, says Left Shark. Okay, okay, looking very cute, looking very cute. So we got you with this little basket here. We have this little piglet stall. We have Pooh kind of dancing. We have Tigger jumping. Little jacuzzi here. Really pretty build with like the purple trees kind of tucked in there. My only concern here, Left Shark, is it almost feels like you're out shopping. You have the basket. There's a stall here. I'm wondering how that would do against some of these lazy day scenes where people are more relaxed. Not only are you kind of out and about shopping, but we also have some very energetic, Pooh looks very energetic here. Piglet looks very relaxed. Eeyore looks really relaxed. But, we have a good bit of energy here. And then a lot of the snaps are also really playing up the warm and kind of cozy notes a bit more. I do like the color diversity that you've added some fun purples in here. I do think that looks great. But with the, heavier makeup, with the basket, with the shop, I think this still has a great shot at 4K because it's really pretty. My only concern is how is it going to do against these snaps that really embody the title? This lazy cozy day. You really you really want it to feel lazy. So that would be my big recommendation. Again, this very well could get 4K. I mean, dude, during the Expo Challenge, I literally saw people not even do an Expo, and they ended up, you know, in like the top 2,000. So, no Expo, no showcase, no nothing. So yeah, if a picture looks good, it can do well, but it also has to rely on its opponent hopefully not doing the theme as clearly, you know, in addition to that. Because I think if during the Expo Challenge that particular photo had popped up against actual Expos and had received voters that understood the challenge, it would have had a very hard time getting 4K. It just depends on what you pop up against. So if you get voters that are, you know, really looking for this lazy day vibe, and you're up against a really cozy, lazy kind of scene where it's just them sitting around snacking, or them sitting back and watching TV, or a rainy day indoors with cookies, hot chocolate, and a little bit of movie time, it could be a bit harder. Because, like, you remember, you know, whenever I approach a Dreamsnap challenge, I always try to build it in a way to where you could guess what the challenge is. I don't think I would guess lazy, cozy day for this. There's not really anything here to communicate to me that it's a lazy day. If I guessed what the snap was here, I would say it's like, you know, something to do with Winnie the Pooh and a day at the market. So I do think voters are going to love seeing the new characters. They're going to love seeing the new decor. And this has a great shot at 4K just for that. But again, you know, I think with a lot of these snaps having that lazy day vibe, how it performs against these will be a bit trickier. Because, you know, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, I would likely vote for these over something like this because I feel like this embodies the theme a lot more, and they're equally beautiful. Now, if this embodied the theme more but didn't look good, I might choose yours based on how much effort you put in and how good the lighting is, how great the villagers look, how good the avatar looks. I might end up choosing yours anyway. But this, in my opinion, looks just as good, but it's more on theme, and that's where I would be cautious. But yeah, I love the scene. Absolutely beautiful. But what could we do to make it very clear that this is a lazy day? Jenny B. Okay, we got this one here. Jenny B says, do you think it's too boring? Should I pivot? Well, it's definitely on theme except for a couple of things. Like, you're clearly having a lazy day. You're sitting down here in this chair. You're watching TV. But, like, this particular Ariel Dream style, you know, if you're going to use Ariel for this, why not use her default, not the mermaid form, but her, you know, she looks dressed to go to some kind of... She doesn't look dressed for a lazy day. You not only do you want your avatar and what you're doing to embody the theme, you want your villagers to as well. So that's why for this snap, I would be willing to bet here that Plum Bob does have Eric's fancy dream style. So why didn't they use it? Why didn't they use Eric's like Admiral Princey style? Well, because it's a lazy day. Eric's not going out to run the Navy. He's just chilling at home with his wifey. You know, it's a lazy day. That's why this outfit works well. That's also why the avatar's dressed like she is. So in this one here, Jenny B might, you know, I think it's great to have Vanilla be watching TV with you guys. And it's great that you're utilizing some villagers. But I would be a little bit more picky about how I present and who I present. So, you know, I like Vanellope being here because it's kind of like you're watching TV with your kiddo. But is there somebody better than a floating robot that could work for this scene? You have a very kind of classic style home with the windows and the art. It doesn't feel very techy. So is there somebody that could play into this scene a bit more better than like a sci-fi floating robot? And, you know, is there a better style for Ariel that feels more like a lazy day, cozy, hanging out at the house look instead of like a showgirl, you know, going out to, you know, some fancy gathering of some sort, you know. She looks very dolled up, very sparkly dress. I would go more like relaxed and cozy. Now, the other thing is the two TVs with like the monitor in the center. I think this might not be the best way to communicate what you're going for here. So if your idea is to have you guys watching TV, you can always just do a big centerpiece TV, you know? But having like two TVs on at once, that doesn't sound super cozy to me. Like, I feel like I would not be able, I mean, you know, I would kind of struggle to like enjoy television if there were two TVs next to each other with different things going on. And what you could do is just have a bigger middle TV. Another thing to consider is that there are ways to set up your shot kind of like this, where we can see the avatar's face, we can see the food better, and you can have that singular TV. With this angle, it's going to be hard to see your snacks, and also your snacks are like on the entertainment stand. Like, this is like where another monitor is. There's like the computer monitor back here, and then you have these snacks here. I think this is a great kind of example of how you could set your scene up to have it feel a bit more like a lazy cozy day and to have it really make sense and resonate with villagers. So I don't think it's too boring. I mean, the challenge is lazy cozy day, so it's good that it's calm and relaxed. But I would rethink the design of the environment, and I would rethink the angle on the avatar to avoid just like a behind the head shot. And I would also rethink who you're using, why you're using them, and what styles you want to present them in. So you don't necessarily have to completely pivot away from your idea, but I do think it would be a great opportunity to refine it. Tazzy is next. Focus on using a smaller area and playing the meta. I'm not sure if that's the right fire pit for this. Okay, so we have this one here. And then we have this one here. Mellow Mode. Thank you, my friend. We got a brand new member of the supporter family, you guys. Welcome, Mellow, into the supporter family. Welcome, welcome. Appreciate the Prime sub. Always an honor to get those. Huge honor. I know you can only give those to one person every 30 days, so I always really appreciate it when they come my way. Thank you, my friend. Okay, so we have Tazzy here, and we have two options. There's this one here and this one here. Now, this one feels a bit warmer, right? The daytime lighting is not necessarily warm light, and you're also not getting these honeycomb lamps to activate, so it's less warm. And if we read what the challenge stated, you know, it does say, build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. Now, a fire pit is warm, right? So that's a good option. But lighting can also be warm. Colors can be warm. So this is going to naturally feel a good bit warmer. But what are we doing to really showcase to the voters that this is a cozy, lazy day? Or a lazy, cozy day, I should say. Let's look at some of your competitors here, right? So we have people sitting back, watching television with some treats on the table here. We have this nice rainy day outside, nice warm and cozy on the inside shot. We have several cozy little picnic scenes where the avatar is sitting on the ground. The reason the avatar being seated this week is so popular, I knew it was going to be as soon as I saw the challenge, is because this just showcases less effort. It shows you being lazy. Like, think about it, if somebody is standing up and they're walking around, they're up and about, they're going out to visit friends and they're walking all over the place, no one's going to be like, hey, stop being lazy. Like, you're obviously moving around. But when would you be likely to be called out for being lazy? Probably when you're sitting there not doing anything, right? That's what people's brains associate with the laziness. That's why these seated shots are going to be very popular this week, because it's lazy and cozy, right? Like, it's warm, there's nice food, there's warm lights and friendship, and they're just sitting there relaxing. So that helps it to feel very lazy. That's why so many people are doing these poses, even though I haven't done a video on this at all yet this week. So people are kind of on the same page with these, right? You're seeing a lot of these shots, and you don't have to be seated. Like, this one still vibes because, they're at home. You can clearly tell they're at home. They're not going out at all. They're just hanging out, having some treats, not doing anything. The puppies are playing, kiddos watching TV, and they're just looking into each other's eyes here. But you're going to see a lot of shots where people are seated in chairs or seated on couches, or they're using like that robot pose or the fox pose to showcase themselves, being very relaxed. That's why I warned against this one. It's absolutely beautiful, but it doesn't feel lazy to me. They have a basket in their hand, they're carrying something, there's a marketplace. It almost looks like they're shopping with friends. And that would kind of be the opposite of being lazy, right? Because you're actually actively doing something. You're not just relaxing. Again, this very well could still get 4K because it's very pretty. But my concern would be if it pops up against snaps like this. It might not. But I think it would have a hard time against snaps like these because they're very relaxed. So keep in mind, Tazzy, there's multiple ways to play up the meta. So you see how they're still close to the avatar, just like you are, but they're actually portraying the theme. I want you to always keep in mind that when it comes to Dreamsnap challenges, the most important thing is the theme, followed by things like lighting, composition, and the rest of the meta, right? Like, all of that stuff is important. So if we look at a previous challenge, right, there was the Book Nook challenge we had a while back. And for Forested Book Nook, again, seated poses were extremely popular. Like, a vast majority of the 4K submissions were the fox pose and the robot pose. Why is that? Well, because usually when someone's reading a book, they're not like actively walking around or standing unless they're Belle. She likes to stand and read for her pose. We can see her here. But when you're in a book nook, it's very likely that you'll be seated. And when you're being lazy, it's also likely. Again, you don't absolutely have to be lazy. You don't absolutely have to be seated to be having a lazy day. But what are we doing with this snap here, Tazzy, to communicate that this is a lazy day? You want to make sure it's always clear that you're on theme. You want to design every snap in a way to where the theme can be guessed. So, for Kingdom of Beauty, we have a castle behind us, and we have a crown, and we just have a lot of beauty factors, and a lot of royalty. For Inside Out weather, we've got sunny weather on one side, rainy, stormy weather on the other side. We're showcasing a lot of weather. For Pals with Paws, we've got a lot of Pals with Paws, right? So, when it comes to any Dreamsnap challenge, you always want to think about how you can be competitive with how you present the theme. So this is on theme, right? Like, you have, everybody's kind of relaxing, right? It very well could be a lazy, cozy day. But this kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier when we had a friend that did Cherished Childhood. In their Cherished Childhood snap, they did a beach scene with some playful villagers, but they ended up getting 1,500. And one of the reasons why is if you look in the 4K range, most of what did really good in Cherished Childhood was very playful. I think the same thing is going to apply this week. Most of what's going to do well this week will likely be very lazy. So how do you make the Dreamsnap feel even more lazy and equally cozy and fun and beautiful? Well, we've seen some great examples of that. These like seated picnics can be really good. This like sitting at home watching a movie I think is a really good framing here. Being inside on a rainy day. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it. Again, very pretty snap, and I would say between the two, the warmer lighting here is certainly going to be better. But also don't forget that, you know, there's a lot of things that can be warm. The fireplace is warm. The lighting is warm, but colors can also be warm. You have a warm yellow. You have a bit of a warm hairstyle. And you have some warm trees in the back, like the reds and the orange. But you could add even more warm colors in the back if you wanted to. So yeah, my recommendation for you would be to think about, you know, what some of these other snaps are doing to like really highlight that this is a lazy cozy day. Whether they're, you know, sitting down or they're communicating that it's a rainy day outside. And also be sure to really make sure you highlight those treats. So that's why these picnic scenes work so well. That's why we have 3 in a row here of these picnic scenes. Because if we read the challenge, it says, build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. So those treats would be, you know, what we see in a lot of these snaps where there's the honeyed milk, there's the honeyed carrots, there's the little pies, there's this little sundae. This one we have the little syrupy waffles with the blueberries, the honeyed milk. We have this little loaf of bread over here. So that's why picnic scenes are coming off really popular here, because you can be seated, you can be lazy, and you can highlight treats really well. I'm not saying this is your only option, but if you don't want to do a picnic scene with Pooh and friends, I would recommend finding a different way to communicate the theme. You know, finding a way to highlight treats, finding a way to highlight that it's a lazy, cozy day. Make it extremely clear to the voter that you're on theme. Caroline Rose is next. All right, we got a little table set here. You got your little pancakes, you got the honey, and very relaxed villagers here, which is nice. I like the little music motif. That's cute. Very pretty outfit. I like that you're not super dolled up, you know, not super... Actually, I don't think you really have any makeup on, which I think is fine here for this particular challenge. Good lighting. It might be fun to have this same shot, but with like a little stool. Like having you kind of seated in this scene could be very good. You don't have to sit on the ground like the picnic scenes. You know, there's plenty of people that are seated on couches or in chairs. Though, I don't think you absolutely have to do that. You are highlighting the treats really well. And the villagers do look very relaxed. There's not like a lot of high energy here, which is good. And it's also very warm and cozy. You got a lot of warm color, a lot of warm light. I think the music note also helps, you know. Yeah, and I like the little flowers in the foreground as well. Overall, very pretty, Caroline. I think this is a very strong submission. I would love to see a secondary review where, and you can just keep this one saved to your gallery because I think this is really good. But I would love to see a secondary review where maybe we try a chair, or maybe even you holding the hedgehog, you know, like the hedgehog is brand new, very cute. And the pose, I think, could work really well here. Because it's a very low energy kind of pose. It's just really relaxed. And I think that could be kind of adorable here as well. I do think the hedgehog poses will probably be pretty popular this week. Oh, we have a hedgehog already. But there's a portion of this pose where she kind of looks at the hedgehog. Yeah, that one right there. It's pretty cute. Pretty cute. Let me switch out my hat here. I would definitely not have all the makeup on that I have on right now, I don't think. Let's go back to sunset. Just drop a little item to push the camera up. Trying to see if her smile gets a little less energetic. See, I think even the closed eyes would be good, because it just seems really relaxed. I actually like that angle a lot. So for that, I think we'd have to turn... I think I turned too far. We'll try it, actually. Yeah, even this seems really relaxed here. I wish her fingers didn't clip into the hedgehog, but her smile's a bit more muted, and she's kind of just looking into his eyes. I feel like this is a nice, relaxing pose. If you are going to be standing, I know for me, I'll probably sit this week. I don't know if I'll sit in a chair or if I'll sit on the ground. But I do love a good excuse to use the robot pose or the fox pose. I mean, this could be super cute too, though. Let me find a smaller chair. Oh, actually, even this, I think, would be super, super fun. And we could even have another little villager beside us. And then we can have a little table here with treats and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you don't have to do this, by the way. Like I said, you can find some fun things to do with the avatar. Free mode might be better for this bigger bench. I wish the facial expressions weren't so weird. That one's kind of cool with the eyes kind of closed more. That looks really relaxed. So I do like that. That would be option 2. She looks like she's just kind of relaxed and in thought here. So I think that could be fun. That could be a good option. Could be something different from the picnic vibes, you know. Not something I would say you have to do for yours, Caroline, because you've already built a whole scene here. So I'm just I'm just showing different ways people can show relaxation. I think for yours, if you want to be standing, I think the hedgehog pose could be really cute. And I'll also say, when we got the Pocahontas update, I ended up posing with Miko because Miko was brand new. And voters really liked this. It ended up being around rank 90. And I think, this tender little moment between Miko and the avatar with like Pocahontas here, I think they really like seeing the Miko interaction. And I do think the new hedgehogs are super cute, and voters tend to love new cute stuff. So, oh my gosh, Winnie the Pooh. Oh, wait, we can't share this bench? Oh, no, he just left. He doesn't want to sit with me. Well, that's not very nice. So yeah, if you did want to sit in yours, you can eat. I would say it would be cool to see it with the hedgehog pose for one. And number two, if you did want to sit, I would do like a small chair that fits in the spot you're in. One that doesn't take up a bunch of space. So maybe like one of these little wood chairs, or maybe like a little stool that hides well. But since you're right next to a table, you know, if you were just like seated by that table, I think that could be good. And we can even do you seated literally towards the table. You know, we could even do one that's like kind of angled like this. Like something like this could be really good as well. And if you want to give them a really relaxed expression, this second facial option right here, not the first one, she looks really weird with the double row of teeth smile, but the second one, where her eyes are a little less open and she's got a very mild smile, it just looks like really relaxing. She looks really relaxed here. So, you know, this could be really good for yours if you wanted to go this route. Again, you don't absolutely have to do that. It feels relaxing, you know, feels lazy. But, you know, just to compete with some of the nice, you know, nice lazy day scenes could be good to consider. You got a nice table here, so nice little chair where you're just relaxing there could be great. Very good, Caroline. Very good. Amanda. Very nice, Amanda. Another cute little picnic scene. I think these are all going to do really well this week. Like I said, it's good. You're seated. It's not high energy. Everybody's kind of chilling. Piglet's chilling. Eeyore's chilling. Pooh's chilling. Tigger's about as chill as he can be. I love the big honey item here. I was talking about maybe using that in my snap as well. I love how you have this little cooked honey item here, too. This looks really pretty. I haven't made all the new crafting and cooking stuff yet, but there's some really nice stuff. I love the foreground here. The way you have the orange lilies really adds to the warmth and coziness. The outfit feels very cozy. And we even have a cute little swing here. So yeah, very good, Amanda. Not much I would do differently. I think the only thing I see that I would maybe consider is over here on the left-hand side where we kind of have the rug here. It might be nice to have like a little item up next to the tree. Like maybe another little flower pot just to add some extra. Because on this side, right, we have a lot going on. We have this little honey item. We have this big honey pot topiary. We have the bees. We have Tigger. You know, there's a lot happening here. And then we come over here and we have Pooh and we have the honey. But over here in the backdrop, it's just kind of like the goose feather rug and the tree. So maybe a little something to utilize some of this space here could be nice. Could just be a small little flower pot by the tree because you have great detail throughout the backdrop as well. So a little something right here could be good. Very good job, Amanda. Very good job. Beautiful work. Zombie. Very good, Zombie. Very good. A nice lazy day at the house. Mochi, I think, is such a great companion for this because Mochi is just a chonky little guy. You know, I mean, a lazy cat. Like, a cat has to be somewhat lazy to get this big or just viciously overfed. Hi, Zamai, this is my first idea for this week's theme. Let me know what you think. Thank you for all you do. Of course, of course. Very solid job here. I love the fact that you're kind of just scrolling on your phone. I think this is something everyone can resonate with. I also love that you have like a basket of laundry here that you're ignoring and you don't have any socks on, you know, like you are very clearly not planning on doing much today. I like it. I like it. Really fits the vibe of the challenge. Now, between the two, Stitch with the book is pretty cute. Olaf's pretty cute. I like Mochi more in this one because we can see his chonky little face. I also like that you included Remy as a motif. The challenge did mention Remy. My only recommendation, Zombie, if you want to be even more competitive, I think this captures the title of the challenge really, really well. The only thing I would recommend, you got the laziness down, you got the coziness down, but, I would also be aware of some of the other elements of the theme. So it says, build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. And then it even mentions your treats, like enjoy a pot of honey with Winnie the Pooh or a bit of fine cheese with Remy on a carefree afternoon. So you have Remy here with like his cheese and his strawberry. So that could work, but it looks like Remy's down there enjoying that himself. I think if you had a little something near you somewhere, like maybe a little treat here, you could put the fan. I would just have a treat, right? Because when I look at these snaps, they're doing everything. They're creating a lazy, cozy day. They have treats. And they're having a carefree afternoon. So all of these people most people appear to be using treats in their snaps. Like most people either have some kind of little honey pot or a picnic set up with like pies, the honeyed milk or honey pots themselves. And, snaps like this player is doing something kind of similar to what you're doing, but they've gone out of their way to do everything the theme said. They're enjoying treats as well. So I did recommend, I think root beer would work really good here. Probably better than hot cocoa. But I mean, hot cocoa works too. But the fact that they have the treats, they're sitting down on the couch. They have slippers on. They're in some lounge at home attire. They've got popcorn. They've got cheese puffs. They've got cookies. And they're watching Toy Story. They're doing everything the theme said. Now, in yours, you're doing the title really well. I would just be considerate of the other descriptions. So that would be my recommendation for you. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You could show a tiny bit more of the room as well if you wanted to. I do think this has a great shot at 4K because it embodies the title really well. Though how it will perform against similar snaps that show more of the environment and feature everything the challenge mentioned, hard to say. That's why I would consider those elements as well, because you can continue the route that you're on here. I, again, love Mochi as your featured companion. I think that's really good. With the lighting here, that's really nice. Feels very warm and cozy. I love the basket of unfinished laundry and the avatar just scrolling on her phone. I think everybody can relate to this. So I think people will really like the concept you have here. I would just try to add a couple of little elements. That way, no one will say, yes, this is good, but, this one had more of what the theme asked for. So if you add those elements as well, that won't happen. Chica is next. Chica said I haven't purchased the new adventure pack. Went with a cozy indoor winter snap. Thank you for the review and recommendations. Okay. Very nice. So we have 2 here. My biggest advice for you, Chica, is you don't need the adventure pack for this. What are you doing to tell us it's lazy? What are we doing to really communicate to the voters that it's a lazy day? Right now, it feels like a cozy winter cabin. And we do have the treats, so that's very nice. But, we see other snaps that aren't doing Winnie the Pooh at all, that have this lazy, cozy day really dialed in. Like, if I had to choose between these two, I personally would likely go with this option because they're really, really, really hitting the theme here. And the same can be said for this snap. You know, I would likely choose a snap like this over this. Only because these players... So your snap feels like a cozy day, but there's not really anything to indicate that the avatar's being lazy. It's a nice cozy cabin. It's beautiful. But these, the avatar feels exceptionally lazy. Especially when you can do some storytelling, like you have a basket of unfolded laundry and you're scrolling on your phone. Really clever. This one, you know, they're in their slippers and they're watching TV. They're in these loungy clothes. Now, for the Winnie the Pooh ones, not all of these feel lazy, which is kind of what we recommended. The picnic ones, the avatar's sitting down. They have a lot of treats around. These can work. And even this could work, but that's why I also recommended for this one, you know, what can you do to make yourself feel more lazy? That's what we recommended for this one. What could you do to make this more lazy? This one, very lazy day. And that's also why this one's really pretty. But my big concern is that it feels like a day out shopping. They've got a basket in their hand. There's a stall here with like a lemonade pitcher. You know, it looks almost like a marketplace. Like they're strolling the market with their friends, which wouldn't really be a lazy day. It's cozy, but is it lazy? And I think you can make your concept work really well, Chica. I think you can make this work really well if you find clever ways to present this cabin scene with a bit of storytelling where we can say, yep, that is a lazy avatar. There it is, a lazy day from the avatar. You can do the fox pose where you're laying on the carpet reading a book. You could sit down in a chair close to the front of the scene with your hot cocoa and your cookies. Whatever you can do to really play up those lazy vibes. I would definitely recommend it because there will be people doing that. And I think these will be, these will be the people to watch out for, or the people that are going out of their way to create these kind of lazy day scenes. Cozy Pixel Girly. All right. Hello, hello. Here are the two snaps I came up with for this week. I'm getting some mixed feedback about snaps like mine not being on theme. I thought a picnic with honey is cozy. I'm always open to any advice you have. Well, my question to you, Cozy Pixel Girly, is was that what the theme asked? Are we being tasked with just making a cozy scene? Are we? No. No, we're not. Why do you think people are telling you that your snap doesn't seem to be as on theme? I think the issue here is you seem to be interpreting the challenge this week as to just make it a cozy day. But that's not what the challenge is titled. It is titled Lazy Cozy Day. And then we read the challenge and it says build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. Enjoy a pot of honey like Winnie the Pooh, or build, or a bit of fine cheese like Remy on a carefree afternoon. So you're doing what you can to communicate that it's a cozy day. But from what I'm seeing here, it doesn't seem that you've really done much of anything to communicate that it's a lazy day. You got on, your makeup, your hair's looking really good, but you're kind of standing. There's a good bit of energeticness to the scene. There's a lot of fireflies. It seems that in your photo here, the reason people are likely telling you they feel like it's not on theme is that you haven't done anything to really communicate that it's a lazy day. So we talked about that a lot today, so hopefully you've already heard a lot of the advice about this and the ways you can go about it. Sitting down, having the avatar in a resting position is going to play up that laziness so much better. There are actually several Winnie the Pooh style submissions that feel very lazy, like these. The theme even said, enjoy a pot of honey like Winnie the Pooh. So enjoying some treats with Winnie and friends, that could work. But it needs to feel like a lazy day. It needs to feel rather low energy, rather relaxed. And that's why these seated picnic snaps, where there's not as much energy, are very much on theme. You made a really pretty scene here, but if you showed me this and you said, Senpai, guess the theme, what do you think the theme is? I don't know, picnic with friends, honey picnic. I'm never going to guess lazy. Because there's nothing here to communicate that. So that's probably what people mean, Pixie. I think you misinterpreted people saying that you're not on theme as if they were saying this isn't cozy. And if you realize that people are trying to tell you that it doesn't feel like a lazy cozy day, then you're probably not going to understand why they're telling you it's not quite as on theme as some other snaps. So my advice to you, you can use this type of scene. Absolutely. You can use, Winnie the Pooh, and you can do a picnic. But you need to do your best to try to communicate that it's a really relaxed, carefree, lazy afternoon. And it's harder to do that when we have a lot of animation going on. We have, the fireflies everywhere. We have you really dolled up in this, super, flashy bee costume with the hair highlights. You're standing, you're, looking off into the sky. Again, nothing here communicates that it's a lazy day. So you want to think about that for every challenge. No matter what the challenge is, how do you communicate the theme to the voter? Because that's a good way to get the vote. So for a lot of people here, if they were voting and they were to come across this, they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's definitely a cozy, lazy day, all right. This person's sitting down on their couch watching TV with some treats. They did everything the challenge asked. This is definitely a lazy, cozy day. This person is sitting here, can't even be bothered to put socks on, scrolling on their phone, ignoring a basket of laundry. Very lazy. Notice how, Zombie put the laundry here intentionally to tell a story. They found a clever way to show the laziness of their avatar. There's stuff that needs to be done, but it's not getting done. Now, you don't have to take it that far. Simply putting your avatar in a more relaxed position, like this, where they're not standing, there's no hustle and bustle, there's not a bunch of movement. Notice how all of these avatars, or all of these villagers, are very relaxed. Nobody's really jumping for joy. They're just chilling. It's a carefree afternoon. The avatar is sitting down, enjoying the beautiful weather, having a nice lazy day, not a bunch of makeup, no flashy hair. Very cozy outfit here. Now, for your outfits, this definitely feels a bit more on theme. But I would probably go a bit more muted with the hair, and I would definitely tone down the amount of villagers here. Again, it's a carefree afternoon, not a party. It's not a big party. You actually have more villagers in your submission than anyone's I've seen so far. Maybe that's why people are telling you it's not on theme. That, and again, there's nothing here to communicate a lazy day. I don't know about you, but when I have a lazy day, I'm not going to be surrounded by like 8 different people. When I have a lazy day, it's going to be me, Jordan, and my cat. Maybe me, Jordan, and a friend of mine and my cat. But that's about it. You know, it's a lazy day. I'm not trying to call a bunch of people and organize a big get-together. I'm having a lazy day. So that's why with these little picnic scenes, you know, you're not seeing Pocahontas and Tiana and Merida and Alice and Tinkerbell and Joy. It's just a little group having a carefree afternoon. Less is more this week. It's great to, like, you know, use villagers and use your villager tab and make the most of it. But what are you trying to communicate? If the challenge is to make a world fair or an expo, that's a big event. There should probably be a lot of people there, right? If the challenge is asking you to make a cozy book nook, that's not so big of an event. It's just a cozy little nook. Probably best not to have a lot of people there. If the challenge this week is asking you to have a lazy day, well, what do you think that means for you this week? This outfit, I think, is definitely a good option, but I would definitely tone this down quite a bit, and I would try your best to communicate that it's a nice, lazy day. Tigress is next. I have 2 here. Lighting is different. Hoping for 4K this week. Thank you for all your help when you review my snaps. I hope you like my idea this week. All right. Option number 1 and option number 2. Okay. Couple things I would recommend here. Tigers, first off, I definitely think the sunset is better here. It feels a lot more warm and cozy. But, same thing we've already discussed with a lot of snaps. What are you doing to communicate the laziness? You do have less villagers here, which is really good. And it's less animated. You don't have like a whole lot going on. It feels very chill. But, as we've seen, you know, there's a lot of dream snaps this week that we've come across. Where, for these picnic scenes, the avatar is in this very relaxed seated stance. I would focus on relaxation and laziness. I think this could do well, you know. You only have like a few of the Winnie the Pooh villagers. You only have the new villagers here. You put together a pretty good little scene. But how would this perform against some of the snaps we've come across that really feel like a lazy day, right? Whether they're Winnie the Pooh or not. There's a lot of snaps like this one. It's raining. You know, they're telling a story about it being a lazy day. We have rain outside. We have hot cocoa. We have cookies. So neither one of these two are going to work. They're not doing anything today. They got a blanket on the couch. They got popcorn. They got cookies. They got the drinks. They're in for the day. They're chilling. So a little bit of storytelling there. Now, a picnic with your friends can be great for a lazy day. But a good way to make it feel even more lazy would be to get on the ground. You know, when you're seated, you're going to come off as more relaxed. And there's also some great things you can do, like we showed earlier. You could always, you know, use different chairs if you do want to be like around a table. Lots of great things to do. So, I like your environment so far, Tigers. I think it's looking pretty good. Very cute. Feels cozy. And your more energetic villager with Tigger, he's a bit further back, which I think that's nice. But I think if you were to give yourself a little place to seat, or you could always sit on the ground, could help it feel even more relaxed. If you are going to stand, I think it could be an opportunity to maybe show off the new hedgehog pose. Because there's a certain point in that pose where the avatar just looks really relaxed and the hedgehog looks kind of relaxed because he's just laying in your arms like a baby, just having a really, you know, just really relaxing, right? So, my main recommendation here would be to consider ways to really communicate that it's a lazy day. There's some really fun ways to do that, like what we saw with Zombie here with the basket of laundry. Many ways you can go about it, but I would give it some thought. Delionica said, is it too orange? No, the challenge did say to make a warm environment, right? For warmth, orange, red, yellow, those are your warm colors. So I do think they're going to be strong. Kind of like how when I make a bind submission, right? Like this might be, too red. But it works. When these color palettes really work well together. I do think you could probably get away with turning down the character lighting a little bit. I don't think it's too orange, but Pooh is shining like a beacon here. I wouldn't completely get rid of the character lighting, but I think you could reduce it a little bit if you wanted to. And yeah, this is very good. Another good lazy kind of day. You guys are on the picnic blanket. You seem really relaxed. The eyes are kind of half closed here. You're smiling. You and Pooh are looking at something in the distance. Piglet's very low energy here. Eeyore's very low energy. Overall, I think it's a very strong snap. Definitely feels like a lazy, cozy day. Good warm colors, good treats. Pretty much doing everything the theme asked. So, very solid, very solid. Jennifer is next. Hey, firstly, have a great holiday, and thanks for all the advice. Okay, so I feel like daytime setting suits the theme better this week for afternoon, and the fireworks may be overkill here. Yeah, I don't think it's the best time for fireworks, and I'll be honest with you, I would not overthink the afternoon portion. I would focus more on the warm portion. So let's read what the challenge says. Build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. It actually doesn't mention afternoon at all until it's giving you an example of what you could do. The carefree afternoon is not part of the theme. It's an example of what you could do. So let's read the theme together real quick. The theme is called Lazy Cozy Day. So it should be a day. It says, build and decorate a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. That's the theme. That's the theme. That first sentence. And then it's going to give you some ways to go about this. Enjoy a pot of honey like Winnie the Pooh. Or, now this is an or. So anytime you see an or, that means they're giving you examples, right? Like, or different things you could do, but do not have to do. So enjoy a pot of honey like Winnie the Pooh, or a bit of fine cheese like Remy on a carefree afternoon. Now, when it comes to lighting in Dreamlight Valley, this is sunset lighting, but this could be a carefree afternoon. The only difference is that the lighting is warmer. And the challenge says to make a relaxed scene filled with warmth. So I would be careful not to fixate too much on the whole afternoon thing. Though, daytime scenes can do good as well. They just don't feel as warm. That's the downside. The warm colors are not going to come through as much here as they will in, if you're wondering about that at all, look at some of our very high-ranking players, right? Like people that are very, very consistent with their results. Sunset time of day, sunset time of day, sunset time of day. This one, hard to tell, right? Hard to tell. I believe it is sunset, but it feels like a carefree afternoon. The only reason I think it might be sunset is because the shadows look longer. But when you build a scene properly, no one's going to see this and be like, oh man, I don't know. This feels like 6 p.m. and the challenge said afternoon, so I can't vote for it. I don't think anybody's going to feel that way. I really think what it's going to come down to is, does it feel like a lazy, cozy day? That's what everyone's going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for a lazy, cozy day. Here's another one. This one is at sunset. And what makes sunset so good here is that the lights activate, right? Now we get the little light in the house, which makes the whole photo warmer. We get these little lights active in the tree, which make the photo warmer. And they also make it more cozy. So we get the coziness, we get the warmth, and it still feels like an afternoon. When it comes to your time of day, you got to think of it as like a lighting effect more than literal. You can use the sunset time of day and make an afternoon scene out of it, right? For example, this is sunset time of day, and this is literally a dream world. I don't think anybody saw this and was like, looks like a dream world around 6 p.m., I guess. No, they just looked at the color and were like, oh, pretty, good lighting. And if you look at any of these sunset photos, time of day is widely irrelevant here. So this could be a mid-afternoon shot. This could be a mid-afternoon shot. It's just warm lighting. That's all it is. That's why we like using that time of day. And again, another thing to be very considerate of is the or. They're giving you examples here. So lazy, cozy day is the theme. And you're being tasked with building and decorating a relaxed scene filled with warmth, treats, and cozy corners. So if you want your scene to feel warm and cozy, you're going to get that vibe typically a good bit stronger with the warm lighting. Now, again, you don't absolutely have to do that. But rather than getting, kind of hung up on, when the challenge gave us examples, they mentioned afternoon. Rather than getting hung up on the word afternoon, I would focus a bit more on the word lazy. What are you doing to communicate that it is a lazy day? Right now, it looks like you're walking down a path. Going for a walk isn't really too lazy. You have your friends enjoying a picnic here. But what if we had you sitting down at the picnic, like we've seen with a lot of these other snaps? And also, what could we do to make this feel genuinely warm? So I wouldn't really do fireworks because it's a nice lazy day. Fireflies, yes. And then warm light, I think is going to be really good. Some nice warm light. Getting these like warm acorn lamps to activate. I'll tell you right now, this week will be no different. You're going to see a lot of snaps in the 4K range with beautiful lighting. Voters have proved time and time and time and time and time and time again that they love the vivid colors offered by the sunset time of day. This just feels like a colorful cartoon world, Doesn't necessarily feel like sunset because we don't see the sun setting. We just get the colors. So don't overthink it. Don't overthink your time of day. Really, when it comes to Dreamsnap challenges, for time of day, it's really just daytime or nighttime. Those are your two options, really. Sunset is still daytime, and you can set sunset up to be any time of day. A sunset photo, when properly done, can work for any time of day. It can work for sunrise. It can work for midday. It can work for late afternoon. It can work for evening. The only thing sunset can't work for is nighttime. Nighttime is its own thing. So, yeah, don't overthink that. Don't overthink that. And my biggest advice for you for your snap would be And you do have the sunset lighting here, which looks, I mean, that looks a lot better. Or maybe it's just higher saturation. I think it might, because I still can't tell if these lights are on. They look like they're on in this one. The lighting does look a lot better there. It feels a lot warmer. Like, this is way warmer. Way warmer. I think the outfit feels pretty cozy and lazy as well. So my biggest recommendation to you for a scene like this, I think you could definitely get 4K with this. I think the only difficult thing, the only potential issue you could run into is if you get matched up against scenes that feel a bit more lazy. You know, there's no walking, there's no lugging about. You're seated down, you're chilling. And if you are standing, I would be kind of stationary, like we see here. Like in this one, the avatar is not sitting down, but she's embracing her love, and there's a rainy day outside. So she's very stationary. She's not moving around. She's not walking down a path. Neither one of them are going to work today. It's raining outside. They're having a cozy, lazy day at the house. And then you have scenes like this, where we have this lazy, cozy day, where the avatar is just sitting down watching TV with some snacks. So there's a lot of ways to showcase your avatar being lazy. Again, not something you absolutely have to do for 4K. Every week we see Dream Snaps in 4K that don't really do the theme much at all. During the Expo Challenge, like, there were snaps that did not even make an Expo that got 4K. They got lucky to be in 4K because they got the right voters for that to work, and they popped up against the right snaps for that to work. But you can't rely on that happening. So my one concern with your snap is if you end up popping up against scenes that feel a bit more lazy, where the avatar is a bit more relaxed, a bit more stationary, where she's not moving or going out and about, or it doesn't seem like she's walking down a path, I think it could make your snap a bit more competitive. And I would focus more on that rather than falling into the trap of, like, getting caught up on the word afternoon on one of the two examples the scene provided. And again, sunset lighting can work for any time of day. Any time of day. The only thing sunset time of day can't do is night. It cannot make a night scene. But it can work for everything else. Lil Jim, first attempt. My character lighting wasn't working well. I'll redo once I reset the game. But is it too orangey? Also not sure about the lighting behind the camera. I want to sit down, but can't work out how to do it with the camera pushed forward. So I'm not sure why you're worried about character lighting. Is your character hard to see? Is your character in a shadow? Also, this might be the best pose for Eeyore for the lazy day. This is really fantastic. Surprised I haven't seen more of that. He looks like he's sleeping. Everybody looks really relaxed here, which is good, except for Tigger. He's very high energy. And yeah, you said you were planning to sit, so that's good. I think that'll be good. Now, when it comes to character lighting, when you have the sun behind the camera, I don't have any character lighting here. You really only need to worry about your character lighting if you're in a shadow or if you're at nighttime. I have no character lighting here. This got a fantastic rank. I could have turned it up because Remy's kind of in the shadow, but that would just turn everybody up. I rarely ever boost character lighting when I have the sun behind the camera and I have good sunlight on the avatar. You really, truly don't need it. I see a lot of people, like, boost their character lighting, like, with a sunset shot, and all their characters just get, like, so bright. I'm like, why? Like, what? Did you need the lighting? Character lighting is on by default. It's just very mild. So, I don't know. Usually if I have the game open for a while, my slider will also not work. So let's see if it's working now. Oh, good. It is. So this is normal character lighting right here. This is default. We don't really need any more than this. This is the... Oh, and for you, you were talking about you wanted to sit down, but you don't know how to push the camera forward. You just put a chair in front of the item that pushes the camera, and then you open your camera, and you move the camera over here. That's all you gotta do. It's just like all the other pushing the camera forward tricks. You just need to put your chair close to the item that's going to push your camera. So we have the sunset time of day lighting here. Here's your character lighting by default. Here's what it looks like off. Not a very big difference, right? We definitely don't need to turn it up even more. Like we don't need this. Now the character's just like brighter than everything else. Just the regular 0% is totally fine for a sunset shot. The only times I would really worry about character lighting is if you're in a big shadow. So if I'm here, well, now everything in the picture is brighter than me. So, of course, in this situation, character lighting is going to be ideal. Now we can kind of match the brightness of the environment. And then at nighttime, of course, at nighttime, character lighting is extremely important. But when you have this good sunset light time of day, do not worry about that character lighting. Do not worry about it. You're going to be fine. There's nothing wrong with the character lighting in your scene. It looks good. And if you want to push the camera up while sitting down, that's, all you got to do is sit down, then open your camera. And just like all the other, times that you push the camera forward, it'll work here too. If you don't like the way it looks, you can move the chair, you can adjust the angle, you just move things around. You're likely not going to take up as much of the scene. But if you do want to be seated and take up more of the scene, you could also just use free mode. So, when you push the camera up, you're going to look like this. Maybe you want to see the feet, and maybe you want your avatar more in the middle of the frame. If that's the case, just do free mode. And then you can get, nice and close to the avatar if you wanted to. Sorry, the Vizier's Alchemy Tape is still going to push me, so I got to come from this side. So, then you can do something like this. And to make the avatar feel even more relaxed, we'll use the second pose here, where her eyes are a bit more, they're like half open. She looks very calm. She's got a light smile on. She looks very relaxed. So, yeah, you could do something along those lines if you want. Back to your snap here. Yeah, overall, like I said, I love Eeyore here. Piglet and Pooh look very relaxed. Tigger, very energetic. If you can get him to calm down, I think, it couldn't hurt. But if you want him jumping, that's all right. The main thing I would be considerate of is, you're carrying something, you're hauling things around. It doesn't really seem too lazy, right? You're standing up, you're holding something. What are you doing in this Dreamsnap to show voters that it's a lazy, cozy day? There are a lot of people online that seem to be saying, I'm not going to vote for Winnie the Pooh snaps that ignore the theme. And I don't think you're ignoring the theme. I think you're setting up a lazy day. But I would be careful because some people might feel that way. That's why I always make my submission extremely obvious. Like, I want it to be super clear that I'm being lazy. Especially with so many people, like even yesterday, we got a comment in the stream. If you guys were here, like in the middle of the stream, somebody said, I'm worried that everyone's going to ignore the theme and just do a Winnie the Pooh snap. And I responded to that and said, well, why couldn't they do a Winnie the Pooh snap? Why couldn't they do both? You could definitely do both. You can do a lazy, cozy day and Winnie the Pooh. And I think a lot of people will. But I would be very, very considerate of how you showcase that it's a lazy, cozy day. So carrying a basket of things, like you're collecting flowers, well, if you're out collecting things, it's kind of the opposite of lazy. So what can you do to make yourself come off as lazy? And again, don't worry about the character lighting. Lighting looks great here. It looks very warm and cozy. The outfit's very cozy. You got some good lanterns, warmth from the fireflies. The scene is looking really good. My main focus little gem moving forward with this snap would be, how can you communicate to the voters that you're having a lazy day? Robbery here said a bit rushed this week. 2 picks. Pink outfit is Honeyglow, and the dress is on a floating island. Thanks for your time, mate, especially on a busy week. You're set to have. Have a great time. Appreciate it, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie. Okay, we got option number 1. Then we got option number 2. My main concern here, Robbie, this is really pretty. They're both really pretty snaps. Kind of reminds me of Left Sharks. So I think both of you guys have a good shot at 4K just based on off of how pretty your snaps are. So Left Shark's snap, if we go back to it, kind of similar to yours. It looks really good. Let me see if I can find it. So yeah, here's Left Sharks. A beautiful, beautiful scene, right? And then we have yours. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There we go. And then we have yours here, these two. So I'll tell you the same thing I told Left Shark. This is beautiful, right? This is really pretty. And there are plenty of voters out there that will vote for either one of these and this one just based on how pretty it is, how good the lighting is here, how fun the new items are. You know, it is warm and cozy. But the big question is, how will this perform against the voters that are very particular with the theme? And it seems that there's a lot of people like that this week, because a lot of the people submitting their snaps this week seem to be of the mindset of showcasing a lazy villager, having a lazy day. I think a lot of people have really focused on the cozy portion of the challenge and focused on showing off the new Winnie the Pooh stuff. But a lot of people don't have the new DLC. And on top of that, you know, a lot of people that do have the new DLC are kind of going out of their way to show the avatar in a resting position. A lot of people are going out of their way to have their villagers a bit more relaxed, a little bit less energetic. Like in this one here, this is a great lazy cozy day. Like the avatar is dressed very leisurely. There's not as much heavy makeup. It's very muted. And neither Piglet, Pooh, nor Eeyore are jumping up and down, hyper energetic. It really helps the picture feel like a lazy cozy day. And that's what we want. You know, if we want to have the chance to do really well with both types of voters, the ones that are picky and the ones that'll vote just for whatever's pretty, right? If you can make a scene just as beautiful as what you have now, that is also going to play up that lazy cozy day, you'll be pretty much locked in for 4K, because your shot is gorgeous. Just like Mr. Left Shark, this looks incredible, this looks incredible, and this looks incredible. Though, all three of these options, my biggest concern is, you know, even for me, even though I love the way this looks, for me as a voter, I would be more inclined to vote for snaps that have a very creative way of showcasing that it is a lazy cozy day. Because some people have had some, you know, really interesting ways of spelling that out. Like when we saw the snap from Zombie that had like the unfinished laundry in the basket, right? Like this snap here, where we have laundry being ignored by the avatar scrolling on her phone instead of dealing with the chores, a chubby cat, which is also very low energy, very lazy. You know, this feels like a lazy, cozy day, and they really brought in that lazy aspect. My concern is that there are a lot of people that are kind of, you know, in a way disregarding the lazy portion, but I would advise never disregarding a key word of a challenge. Try to always approach a Dreamsnap challenge from the mindset of, how can I build this in a way to where somebody could correctly guess the theme just by looking at my photo? So I might not guess the theme here right away, but if I kept going, eventually I would. But I don't think I would ever guess anything lazy here. Piglet is very energetic. The avatar is very animated. Tigger is very animated near the front here. And there's not really anything lazy going on. You know, there's a lot of honey. There's a lot of color. It's super beautiful. So it'll probably still get 4K, to be honest. You know, just like I said for the Expo challenge, we literally had a snap that we reviewed that just disregarded the theme entirely. Just completely ignored it. They were like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make a Winnie the Pooh scene. And that was before we even got Winnie the Pooh. They just did a scene with Tigger and a scene with, like, the Winnie the Pooh tree. No Expo, no World Fair, no tech, no nothing. It was literally just a picture of a little area with the Winnie the Pooh tree and Tigger, and that's it. And it got, like, you know, rank 1,600 or something like that. I mean, I actually did an Expo and I got around top 100, but, you know, the fact that they were in the top 2,000 and they just ignored the theme shows you that if you make, and I told them when I reviewed it, I was like, if you pop up again, if you get voters, if you happen to get voters that understand the theme, you'll be in trouble. But if you don't, your picture is very pretty, so it'll have a shot for 4K. And sure enough, it got 4K. Same case for yours. If you get lucky enough to get voters that don't care about the word lazy, and if you don't pop up against snaps that are really playing up the theme, you'll be fine. Because most of what you see when you're voting, 9 times out of 10 when you're voting, you're going to see a bunch of random selfies and random quest photos. Most people would pick this over a random selfie every single time. So that's why even when you're not necessarily playing up the theme as well as others, you're still likely going to get 4K with a good-looking photo because people are just happy to find something that's not a selfie. However, the point where it can be tricky, the point where you could lose 4K, would be if you're unlucky enough to actually pop up against things that are doing the theme very well, that are playing up not only the coziness, but also the laziness. So if you want to lock in 4K, if you want to practically guarantee it, with how good this looks, you could practically guarantee 4K if you did something to communicate laziness in addition to the beauty element of this. Because you're pretty much set for success with the beauty element. The only risk here would be the theme element. You know, what can we do to make Lazy Cozy Day a guessable theme from the picture alone? But yeah, very beautiful snap robbery. And between the two, I would probably go, I do love the nighttime one with the new glowing flower effect. It's really pretty. But with the challenge being called Lazy Cozy Day, I'd probably do daytime instead of nighttime. I know it's still part of the day at night, technically, so you could do night. But I think most, since everybody seems to be doing daytime submissions, I would stick with the daytime, just to be on the safe side. Taters. Let's see. We got 2 options here. There's this one here. Robbery. Thank you for the bits, my friend. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Taters, hey, somebody. Hope you're having a great day. I got my second ever 4K last week, so thank you so much for the suggestions. Nice. Congratulations, Taters. I went a bit more low-key this week. Hopefully, get some bones to work from. I think now that I've seen it on my phone, it's a bit dark, so I'll have to fix that for sure. Thank you again for all your help. And then you have a brighter version. I try to use Remy himself. Sunshine, thank you for the gifted, my friend. Thank you so much. I tried to use Remy himself, but he's very hard to see, and I didn't love his poses. No, you can use the motif if you want to. The Remy motif actually looks pretty good. And I do love that you have Belle reading. You have the avatar stationary. The avatar is seated here. I think you did a great job playing up the theme. This really does feel like a lazy, cozy day. And the only thing I would kind of consider here is that, you know, we have the same bookshelves. I mean, it does feel like a big library. Actually, you know what? I like the bookshelves. I think you can keep them. But if you want more light in your scene, I don't know if you've watched my Dreamsnap lighting tips video, Taters, but if you hung a chandelier, let me show you something. You won't even see the chandeliers in your Dreamsnap if you position them properly. But here we have a bookshelf, right? Just like you have a bookshelf. This is how the bookshelf looks by itself. And this is how the bookshelf looks when we put a light near it. You see how all the colors pop? You see how much better it looks when we get some light in there? Also, look at the floor. See how the floor gets brighter? So, I want you to remember that the challenge wanted you to make a warm and cozy scene. Warm. So, when it comes to warm, that doesn't mean you have to have a fireplace. It doesn't mean you have to have a heater. There's warm colors. There's warm lighting. There's a lot of ways to make something feel a bit more cozy. So, we don't really have much color or light on your bookshelves at all, even in the brighter version. Now, I could sit here and tell you all about how to do indoor lighting, but... Yo, Tommy! What's good, bro? Are you on the way over? Yo. Wait, what'd you say? Oh, you just said 0. Bro, were you trying to send... Tommy, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Are you on the way over? I think Tommy's on his way here now. He probably just touched down. Oh, no. You're probably here. Wait, you touched down at... Aren't you landing? Are you landing now? I thought you were landing at 5:30. So, I have a link for you, Taters. I have a link for you. Actually, I don't even have to give you the link. Taters, if you want to learn how to get some more color into your bookshelves here, and this is very important for indoor scenes, Taters, very important. If you look at a lot of my indoor scenes, you're going to see I'm kind of always using this. Like, here's Cozy Holiday Cheer. Look at all the warm light over here, and look at all the warm light behind the tree, and how we got warm light around the fireplace. It's these chandeliers. It's these chandeliers that are doing it. And you don't have to show them, but that would make some really nice light for your bookshelves. Is going to give you more color near the top of the theme, and it's going to make the whole thing feel warmer and cozier. So what you're going to do, Taters, is, you know where you submitted this, where it says primary submissions or primary reviews? Right above that. So there's primary reviews. The channel right above that is called Dreamsnap Tools. And in that channel, you're going to find a video called 5 Dreamsnap Lighting Tips You Need to Know. Watch that video. There's a whole chapter about indoor lighting. Because I think you have a really good concept this week. It really does feel like a lazy, cozy day in your submission, which is fantastic. So I think you're doing really good with your snap. But we can elevate this quite a bit if we get some more lighting in here. And the main thing you can do, you know, again, you can hang some chandeliers that we don't even see that are going to cast light onto these bookshelves, especially one kind of in front of this one by a bit, because you'll get light on this, and light on this. And the video I just recommended you is going to tell you exactly what lights you can use to do that. Hello. Is Tommy here?
I don't know.
I knew it. I knew he was here. What's up, dude?
I was like, oh, hi. You weren't supposed to see me first.
I saw you first. All right, well, time for me to head out. Sunshine said Tommy runs the rest of the reviews. Dude, he'd probably just be like, I like it, I hate it, I like it. It's like, this one's stupid. Silver Tab said the bits, they're coming from inside the house. That's actually pretty funny. I knew it. I figured he was here. All right, well, yeah, my advice for you taters, check out the lighting tip guide. That way you can use some of the chandeliers. And then the last thing I would recommend is maybe a little something down here. I also don't think you need the veggie platter, like, off to the side here. You have enough food kind of on the carpet. I would kind of keep that along the carpet here. Oh my god. I'm behind you. I know that! Also, why are you...
behind you.
You're literally starting a hype train like 2 feet behind me, by the way. And I'm about to get off of here. I'm about to log off. Now we have a hype train. Don't worry about the hype train, guys. Just ignore that. We're leaving. I am going to go... we're going to be enjoying Go Fest this weekend. Pokemon Go Fest. Very excited. We got most of the snaps reviewed, which is pretty nice. I think there's... Yeah, dude, we actually knocked out most of the ones that came in today. Well, most of the ones that came in before today. So, I know we didn't actually have too many snaps to review today because... Oh my god, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing right now? Thank you, bro. Thank you. I mean, I don't even have to say into the mic. I can just turn around. Like, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Tommy said Horty stole my phone. Yeah, he does that. Vox, thank you, my friend. Appreciate the bits. Bro, we're on a level 4 hype train now. You know, I do think that means I get a new emote. And I think you guys get a new emote. And, well, at least anybody that participates in it. I'll wait for it to time out and I'll collect my new emote. But that's like 4 minutes. Now we're going to be here for 4 more minutes. Because I don't know if I end the stream. I don't even know if I get... I don't know if I get my special emote. So we'll see what we get. Sunshine, thank you. And by the way, guys, I think anybody that sends bits will unlock a new emote on Twitch. It can just be 1 bit. Like, you know, we've already hit the goal, guys, so don't worry. Don't feel like you got to do a whole bunch. But if you want to, since, you know, Tommy's 2,000 bits and 10 gifted subs shot us all the way up to a level 4 hype train, there's some pretty cool emotes at level 4. And you can reap the rewards of Tommy's generosity just by, like, attaching 1 bit to the hype train. Skeptical Teacher said, well, now I'm going to have to redo my snap before you review it, says Skeptic. Well, you know, yeah, you can always, I would just recommend removing your snap. If I haven't reviewed it yet, I would remove it from the forum. And keep in mind, just... Oh my god, Ashley, thank you, my friend! Are you trying to get us the Gritty Goose? Let's go. Black Knight with a 100. Mentally Melody with a 50. Look at what you've started. Bro. D-da-da, thank you for the 215. Chewy, thank you for the 102. Very kind of you, my friend. Ghost Girl, thank you for the 5. Is it still on a Wednesday, says Sweet and Salty. Is what still on a Wednesday? Are you talking about Pokemon Go Fest? That's this weekend. What level is the Gritty Goose? Well, no, we probably won't get the Gritty Goose. That's level 5. That's level 5. And we would have to finish a level 5, so don't worry about that, you guys. Don't worry about that. Y'all are about to knock out a level 4, so we'll get something new anyway. The snaps? Oh, yeah. Snaps, new snap challenges come out every Wednesday. They come out every Wednesday, Sweet and Salty. So, yeah, that hasn't changed. Still every Wednesday. And what I was... Oh, thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Tommy with a big 400 as well. Lee Rad, thank you for the hundo. So, when it comes to the advice I'm giving today about, you know, really making sure you highlight the lazy cozy day, I want you guys to remember that you don't absolutely have to do that for 4K. It's just a safe way to play the challenge, right? That way, if you do end up getting picky voters, Fim, thank you for the 200. Tommy, thank you for the 4 and the 40 there. Sweet Lady Sue, thank you for the 30. Oh, good. Now all of you guys are going to get some. Now all of you guys should get a new emote. Whenever the hype train times out, there will be a new emote for you guys. Also, each time you guys hit a new level, that means I'll be here for another 4.5 minutes. So, oh my God, bro, Tommy, another 10. Let's go, dude. That's 20 right there. And maybe we will get Gritty Goose today. I don't know. Yeah. So if we finish the level hype train, I definitely think we will because we have 4 minutes and it's like 96% done. We might get, dude, if I get Gritty Goose today, like the day before I leave for GoFest, or, head out for GoFest, that's hype. Oh, you have the Gritty Goose. Dude, Tommy, I've literally been trying to get the Gritty Goose. Yo, Red and White, thank you for continuing that gifted sub from Ash. Let's go, let's go. Janimal, thank you. Senor says, do you still not have it? No, I still don't have it. I still don't have the Gritty Goose. I don't know how. I don't know. Like, every time we do hit we clear level 5 hype train, I never get it. Okay, guys. You guys got to stop the hype train here because if you don't, I won't get the Gritty Goose. If the hype train passes this level, no Gritty Goose. So you can only get the Gritty Goose on a level 5 hype train, and we just cleared a level 5. So you guys can you guys. Well, I can't stop you, but you guys. You don't even have to do this at all. Sunshine says, stop everyone. Dita says, let's calm down. Jennifer, thank you for the hundo. Max, thank you for the hundo. Heather, thank you for the bits as well. Lisa, thank you for the bits. Gamer Mom, thank you for the bits. Goddess, thank you for the bits. Celestial, Scuttle, Sweet Lady Sue, Poppy Diane, and Sunshine with the big 5-0. Thank you guys. And yes, and Janimal, thank you for the gifted as well. Yeah, I still don't have the Gritty Goose by some crazy stretch. I don't know how. The guy says stop. No, oh wait. Vox's level 6 gets it too. Does it? I don't, unlockable emotes. Oh, yeah, it is on level 6 too. Okay, well, yeah, but still, yeah, I see it. Okay, so Gritty Goose does also count for level 6. All right, never mind. Well, still, though, you guys, y'all really don't need to do any more, on the hype train. So, yeah. No, Dekai, y'all can still stop. I see we've now officially doubled our daily goal, and we've had a lot of bits and gifted, so yeah, please don't feel inclined. I'm going to stick around until the hype train ends to see what we get. And for all of you guys that sent bits, you'll also, or subs, you'll also be able to unlock whatever emote it ends up being, so hopefully it's something cool. Bell B said it does show on level 6. Oh, okay, cool. Anyway, what I was saying about the challenge, you guys, is that you do not absolutely have to do the things I'm saying to get 4K this week. I do think submissions like Robbery in Progress did, or like Left Shark did, I do think those submissions very well could still get 4K. But I'm just pointing out that there are risks. Like, if there's always going to be picky voters out there, whether or not you get them, it's hard to know. Nobody knows what kind of voters they're going to get and what kind of snaps they're going to be up against. So the safest way to approach any Dreamsnap challenge, what I always do with all of my submissions and what's worked out for me for a very long time, is I try to build every Dreamsnap scene to where the theme can be somewhat guessed. And if you approach every challenge that way, no one will usually debate whether you are or are not on theme. And I have seen a lot of people this week that have been, sharing their snaps. And I've seen people on Facebook commenting on them and saying, it's pretty, but it's not on theme. And I think a lot of people are confused about that because their snaps are cozy. And they're like, why is this cozy snap not on theme? Well, because I think the people didn't find it to be a lazy cozy day. So finding creative ways to, add that laziness into this theme, I think will make you a bit safer this week. Again, not something you have to do. It's not something you have to do. Because it won't always matter. You're not always going to get picky voters. You're not always going to pop up against people doing the theme really well. So some weeks it won't make a difference. Just like the snap I was talking about for the Expo challenge. Like, Journey into Imagination literally said to make an expo. And one of the snaps I reviewed, no expo. It was the Avatar and Tigger and like the Winnie the Pooh tree. And it was literally just, I think the person that made it said, I didn't really know what to do, so I just hyped up the new showcase that we just watched. I'm like, okay, well, it's not on theme, but it's really pretty, so it could get 4K. And sure enough, it did. It did. They didn't even do the theme, and they got 4K. So just know, you don't always have to play Dreamsnaps that way. I do, and it works for me. You know, I think that's a big part of the reason why for the past 2 years I've only had one snap not get 4K is because even when I get picky voters, I'm typically safe because I make the theme so insanely obvious and abundant that there is no debate about whether I am or am not on theme. And that's what I recommend, you know, because again, the advice that I give here, it's all about how to stay in 4K. Anybody can get 4K on a given week as long as they attempt the theme. Anybody can pop up against random selfies and pop against random quest photos and find themselves in 4K. But the trick is... Oh, did we finish it? The trick is staying there. How do you stay in 4K? What do we get? What do we get? Oh, I got a raccoon? With a balloon. Well, that's pretty cool. Did everybody got their new emote? You guys all got your new emote? I'm going to gigantify it so we can appreciate it. That's actually kind of cool. Look at this. And the cool thing is, whenever you unlock a Hype Train emote, you get to keep it forever. So, thank you to all the bit senders and gifted subs. You guys, thank you. Enjoy your little raccoon emote. Oh my god, no way, Ashley, you got the gritty goose? I guess you already had, maybe you already had the raccoon. I'll never get that damn goose. Lisa says, how do you get it? You have to participate in the Hype Train. I mentioned that during the Hype Train, Lisa. So, and then you click on claim chest. You got to click claim chest when it pops up. I don't know if there's a minimum amount. But yeah, it'll say claim. And then also just check, you might, you know, if you didn't click the claim option. Oh, I didn't get anything, and I did send one emote for it. I'm not sure when I got it. Oh, you got it. You got it there as well. I think there's a minimum amount. Yeah, for the Hype Train, it might end up being like 100 bits. I don't know. Let me Google it. I thought anybody that participated got it, but hang on. What's the Twitch minimum bit dono for Hype Train rewards? Let me see what it says. Oh. To earn Hype Train emote awards, the minimum contribution is 100 bits or 1 sub. Okay. Well, I wish I could have told you guys that when you were doing the Hype Train. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Hope says I was 5 bits off. Dang, that sucks, because the level 5 and level 6 rewards are usually really cool, and you get to keep them forever. Yeah, because I think Heather sent a bit, and Wishing Stardust sent 5 bits, and Gamer Mom sent a bit, and Sweet Lady Sue sent 43. So I think just Jazzy sent 10. I always thought anybody that sent bits got to participate. But yeah, I guess there is a minimum. I said I'm so happy I can cry. One of these days, I'll get my gritty goose. One of these days. I can't believe you got it. FaceMate Gamer said I had the goose from a previous Hype Train. Dude, I can't get it. I have so many Hype Train emotes now. I don't know if I'll ever get it. Actually, it might end up just being the last one I get. Because at this point, I think there's only like 6 Hype Train level 5 badges I don't have. I think there's only like 6 of them. And there were like 20. And the Gritty Goose is... Whenever I do get the Gritty Goose, it's going to be a big celebration. We're going to be really excited. Like yesterday, we just got... we had a big Hype Train yesterday, and we got this. we got Puffer Pop. That's what we unlocked yesterday. So yesterday we got Puffer Pop. Today we got whoops. Where is it? We got this raccoon thing. We got Raccoon Pop. I'm just getting things that pop, I guess. I don't know. Ashley, do you already have Raccoon Pop? Is that why you got Gritty Goose? Maybe that means Gritty Goose is next. Maybe that means that's what I get next. Because if you already have Raccoon Pop, there's Belle B's whole collection. I have a big collection. It would take me a while to put them all in chat. I have quite a collection of Hype Train badges, thanks to you guys over the years. Yeah, I'll put them all in chat before I leave. God dang it. Bro. Why did you do that? Yeah, just like closed. Hang on, I'm trying to show you guys all my I'm trying to show you my whole collection. I have a lot. But that's thanks to you guys. I have all of these and no Gritty Goose. That's actually stupid. That's crazy. How do I have this many Hype Train emotes and still no Gritty Goose? I'm still putting emotes in the chat. Like, that's how many I have. Oh my god, there might not be any way to put all of these in here. This is probably going to exceed the chat size. Oh, I'm almost done. Nice, nice. Okay. I'm at the end of them. I got like 14 more to put in. All right, here's my collection. You ready? Oh my god, I exceeded the character limit. Okay, hang on. Maybe if I break it into 2. Oh my god. Even that exceeds the character limit. I did all that for nothing. Hang on, hang on. There's got to be a way. Let me open sticky notes here. All right, before I leave, we got to get to the bottom of this. Oh, that didn't work? I'll just show you guys. I'll just show you my collection because it won't let me put them in chat. At least not that many. Okay. Can I make this bigger? I'll just zoom in on it before we go. I like how the chat's full of nothing but emotes. It's a good time. Okay. Here's my Hype Train collection. Starts here. I have this gun. There you go. It's a lot. It's a lot of... We've unlocked a lot of emotes and still no Gritty Goose somehow. All right. All right. Yeah, I wanted to put my whole collection in the chat, but I guess not. It's too much. All right, you guys. I'm gonna leave now. I'm gonna head out now. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. We'll finish reviewing your snaps on Monday and Tuesday. We did put a little bit of a dent in it, so that's nice. I'm gonna go enjoy GoFest. If you guys also play Pokemon Go and you're out playing GoFest this weekend, I hope you enjoy yourselves. And Vox says, what's the theme? Lazy Cozy Day. Robert Ray said, have a great weekend, mate. And thanks again, of course. You're very welcome, my friend. Sweet Lady Sue said, hope you have so much fun. Oh, I will. I'm very excited. Definitely looking forward to it. Oh, and if you are still working on your drops, use this link. You type !drops. My chat bot will take you back to the Dreamlight Valley Twitch page. You can scroll down on that page and you can find other people that are live with the drops. I would do a raid, but I gotta skidoo. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the late hype train there at the end. As always, stay safe, stay awesome, stay healthy. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday